listening to the Getting Salty Experience podcast.
Hello! Oh! Hey, fool! Look like cute little jeans, fool. I pinned the fool. And away we go. Welcome back. Look, Rob Procaccini's in there, Paul Meinberg, QC Beast. Who else is in there? Rob, my boy Procaccini. We got Johnny the double Albanese. Joe. Welcome back to the Getting Salty Experience podcast. It's the only one in the whole wide world that brings Mr. T, Fat Daddy Ray, and Gonzo to the kitchen table. Along, we got, you want good Rescue 4 stories? We're covering from 1980 all the way up to the 2010, early 20s, maybe. I don't know. Maybe the late, probably the late 10s or 50s.
Ed got out in 2022, I think. 2002, I think he said.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to say the late 2000s, maybe. I don't know. But we got him. We got a lot of good, funny stories. You guys want to ask any questions? We got a couple of guys who sent in questions, but we're going to have a good time talking about fire stories, talking about Rescue 4, you know, Popeye.
Yeah, I love the sailor, man.
I don't know who the guy in the Getting Salty fans page actually asked what an R and what a 4 meant. But hey, listen, you know,
we might touch on that tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, right, touch on it. So of course, Louis, you didn't upload the 9-pointer that Louis got, did you?
Oh no, I did not. No,
crap.
I did not.
So my boy Louis got a 9-pointer. He's
right
out
by
there,
his house.
right by his house. But now he's heading out to Ohio, I think. Oh no, Iowa. I don't know, whatever the fuck he's going. I don't know where he's going. He's going.
Well, when you have as much money as him, you can go anywhere. You know, it's kind of like, I'm just going to go here, I'm going to go there.
He's taking his Lear jet, out to Iowa. So we got Fat Daddy Ray sitting in. He might be sitting in for Louis is gone for 2 weeks. So, you know, let us know in the chat. You want Fat Daddy in? Fat Daddy will be in.
He'll be in. He'll definitely be in.
We got a very big show next Thursday. We got Chief Hodgins, Chief of Department, current Chief of Department at FDNY. So, very big show. Big
show.
How you doing down there, Gons? You wearing a hat today? You don't make me feel
bad
about your hair?
Whew, if you see this wig, forget about it.
Yeah? Is that your Halloween wig? What do you got on there?
Oh, God. No gel, no moose, no nothing.
Where's the moose?
They comb that with his elbow.
Oh, look, so now see we're sticking through it, screwed the whole shit up. All right, well, while you're doing it here, here's Lou's little 7-point.
Oh, look, he's happy as a pig and shit.
That's right, dude.
Shot it. Dead.
It was
not
crossing the front
for overtime.
Nice long shot. Good to go.
Yeah. At least we pay a little tribute to Lou. There you go, brother.
There you go, buddy. All right, listen, we got to get to the commercials because we get more and more commercials, and we got to get through them really quick.
All right, here we go. New Jersey Fire.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey Fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Somebody said Fat Daddy for president back there. That was great.
I'm in.
Yeah. All right, let's do the They Saved New York, and then we'll be on our way, bro.
All right, here we go.
It is a book that will perhaps go down as the report from Engine Company 82. of our generation. They Saved New York, written by Glenn Uston and Dan Potter, a retired New York City firefighter, explores the men and women of the FDNY and their respective journeys into the department. From everyone, from firefighters on the fire floor to those who were in positions of command, such as lieutenant, captain, and chief, and so on and so forth, this book explores their stories, told through their perspectives. Each story differs, but the mission is the same, and the common theme is this: those that put their lives on the line to save their fellow New Yorker, no matter the cost, no matter the situation, whenever they were in need. Get your hands on this book today. You will not regret it. Written by, once again, retired New York City firefighter Dan Potter, and the concept and photography provided by the one and only Glenn Uston, a member of the Fire Bell Club in New York City. They Saved New York, the men and women of the FDNY. If you'd like to purchase the book, you can do so at theysavedny.com. That is, again, www.theysavedny.com.
And speaking of which, we will be out signing copies out for the Joey D. Memorial Foundation. Mikey Milner will be out there along with, I don't know how many, but a good portion of the guys who are in the book. So if you want to come out Saturday night, November 4th at 7 p.m. at the Quorum Fire Department, tickets are only $20, you cheap bastards. So take some money out. It goes for good fun. You get food, drinks, raffles, 50-50. You get to come hang out with me. I'm bringing the wife and the kids. And Mike's bringing his cat, I think. I don't know. We'll see. So come on out and check us out.
For sure. For sure.
I want to thank Fat Daddy Ray for stepping in. Almost last minute. Not quite.
The last time was last minute. Called me at 7:30.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I had to scramble.
I was like,
That's what I
this
called you.
guy went through all the signals.
I called you yesterday, though, right? Did I call you yesterday?
Plenty of notice.
All right, good. Plenty of notice. All right. Ronzoni's in there. He's a member of the Firefighter. So is one of our guests tonight. So let's start bringing him in.
All right. Who are you going to do first so I can make sure I'm prepared?
Well, we have to do seniority. We got to bring the captain first. So why don't we bring in Captain Sassone? Here he is, Captain Rescue.
Welcome to the stage, sir. Here you are.
He's back by popular
Good evening,
demand.
men. How you doing?
Right. Thank you, men, and Gonzo, you meant to say. But thank you. We know it.
You son of a bitch.
Coming and say, I don't know who's got more time. Look at this guy. I just saw him in the backstage. Look at
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Right. Bring him in. I got to get this nut job in here. Bring him in. Here he is. Hey.
Okay,
He's the Moyle on high. Here he is, our resident Rescue 4 Jew, Mike Milner. What is that? What?
Well, you know, guys,
Guy.
there's always some gray in everything we do in our lives. So hopefully tonight we will open eyes, open minds, and please open your wallet and buy that fucking book that Kevin and I read.
I want to know how you put that makeup on so goddamn fast, bro.
That was lightning quick, man.
You know, I started out in 50 and 19, and we're running, and Rescue 4 was running. You know, when you go, there's always a mad rush to the bathroom on a run, so you get quick at it. You get good at it.
I see.
Quick is good.
All right.
You know, you look like, you remember the old Star Trek? The
I was
episode
just
of the
thinking
guy
the
was,
old Star Trek.
he was
the
half
one guy
black,
was
half
white,
white.
and the
and
other guy-
they were fighting each other at the end.
Yes, they
I
were.
thought he was trying to be a Dalmatian, but you got screwed up.
I do like hydrants.
Yeah.
do?
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right. Who are we going to bring in next, Gons? You bring in the next guest.
No,
I'll
you
give it to
tell me. As I have. Let's go ahead and we'll bring in Mr. Monahan here.
Let's bring in Mr. Eddie Monahan.
Here
he
we
comes.
go. Which one you got? Go.
Well, there he is.
I got to keep moving right.
Shalom, Mr. Monahan. Welcome to the
Shalom.
show.
Milner, by the way, everything isn't just black and white.
Ba-dum-bum. There we go.
He's looking, I don't know what he's looking at. He's looking at something. I don't know. He
What
looks
are you
confused.
doing, Milner?
Hey, Mike.
What's going on?
Look
Oh,
at
my
the
God.
camera. Maury.
He's got the jaw-dropping look like,
Like, I don't know. Yeah, he's confused.
now
What
you
the
can't even see.
What the fuck am I doing?
Hey, let's bring him.
All right, let's get
He's
Mr.
a member. He was in 136. He was a Rescue 4 guy when I got the squad.
Here we go.
He's also a member. I think he's the president. Did he say he's the president of the
He's president.
Firefighters?
Yeah.
He's the
No,
president.
he's not this president.
He's not.
Come on, man.
He's not the other president.
Shut up, silly
Gonzo.
woman. I'm too far away for that one. Here we go.
Shut up, silly
He is, in fact, the president of the Fire Riders. Here he is, Jimmy Finnell.
Oh, there he is.
Gentlemen,
Where is he? Oh, there he is.
There he
guys?
goes.
All right,
So-
all right.
So basically, we got from like the 80s covered all the way up. All you guys, we'll go through your timelines and funny stories and fire stories. The guys like scary fire stories. But first, we got to do what we have to do, guys. We got to get patriotic.
Yeah, I had to bring Milner back. He disappeared on us. He's still trying to.
I'm here.
You there?
Oh yeah.
You look like Emmett Kelly, for crying out loud.
All right, guys, let's get patriotic. Do it, brother.
Here we go.
Oh yeah. Go, guys.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. So we got all the
Put it back on
commercials out of
so
the
nobody
way.
can say anything.
All right, so we had the captain on, and we had Mike on numerous times. Let's start with Eddie Monahan and a quick little synopsis of where you started as a fireman and what year you got to Rescue 4. Try to fill us in.
Oh, let's see. I came on a job 7/11/81 and got assigned to, excuse me, 218 engine down in the Bushwick section of Brooklyn. Worked with a great crew there, Captain Eddie Gander. And it was great being there because I guess we got lucky. We caught the last end of the war years. So it was like every time you went to work, you were going to fires. And I spent 6 years there. And then I lied my way into Rescue 4.
Allegedly.
Who was the captain there?
Joe Sassone. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
You did.
Yep. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
You still
I
want
told him I
me?
didn't care who the captain was there, but sooner or later, I'm coming to Rescue 4.
God, do you remember when he came in? You're like, what?
I ruined the day. I got so much flack from everybody in the world for taking a fucking midget into the firehouse.
Yeah. Well, how about this comment? You know, Captain, we live in a world that has fires, and these fires need to be fought with men with hoses. Who's gonna do that? You, Milner? I have a greater responsibility than you could ever imagine. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, and my existence is grotesque and incomprehensible as it is to you. Saves lives. You don't want me. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about
at parties.
At parties. You want me on that rig. You need me on that rig. We use words like stretch a line, force the door, kick the roof. We use these words as the backbone of the lives we save.
I
have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the very blanket of the fire protection that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said,
You
thank
see what
you,
I'm talking
and
about?
on your way.
Yeah, just throw the microphone
Otherwise,
down.
I
now.
suggest
talking
you
about?
pick
Yeah,
up
the
a
time for the
line and
hook.
fall down the hallway. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think.
Drop the mic. That's it. I'm done.
Wow.
Did you
I had to
say,
get that in. I'm
did
sorry.
you
Oh
say
my
stretch a
God.
line or steal a line? What did you say?
The only
That's a
reason you
stretch.
came there, the only reason you came there is because you worked on the freaking railroad underground, and
Oh my God.
and I needed somebody. I needed one guy who would test the third rail for us.
And for knee wall fires.
And I said, I don't know, fuck. He would be good for that. So
He
that's
fit
why I
perfect.
took him.
He fit perfect in the attic, Ray. Get up there.
I'll tell you what Ralphie Williams said when I got there.
He was also good for. He's also good for like in heavy smoke conditions when I needed to get a breather out the window. I'd stand on him and stick my head out the window and get some fresh air.
That was a pretty
He's
that was a
tiny.
pretty big back step. How did you get up there, Eddie?
How did they, well, they had an extra step. It was the Eddie step. You know,
Eddie step.
Who's
when I
taller,
got
Coops?
there, Ralph Williams
Already.
says to the captain, "Where's the rest of them?" And the captain says, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I looked at his transfer. It said 6'4". And so goes, "It said 64 inches." So I said to Ralph, "Ralph, I can go everywhere you can go. You can't go anywhere I can go."
That's right.
And Ralph says to me, "You're right, but I've already been where you are, you will never be where I am.
How tall are you, Ed? Or how tall were
5'4".
you?
I'm the minimum height requirement. When I was
5'4".
getting measured down at the armory there, they're bringing the thing down to measure my height, and I turned to this big black fella, nice man, and I said to him, if that goes below 5'4", this is going to be the worst day of your life because they're going to beat the shit out of you. And it stopped at 5'4.25".
You see that, bro?
You
Little
can't win a
guys are
fight against a
feisty.
Little guy.
Yeah, so
You don't want to fight a little guy,
Feisty
Ray.
little guy.
No.
Feisty.
little guys were like annoying gnats.
We don't give up.
And if you get beat up, that little guy beats you up.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, and if a little guy gets his ass kicked, like, oh, you beat up a little guy, nice, good for you, bro.
Happy now.
You happy? You beat up a little guy.
So for a while, my claim to fame was the shortest rescue fireman in the city until Mikey Davis came along, and then we were both the shortest rescue firemen. We were bookends.
I think he got stretched a little when Mike Smith would grab him by the throat, though, and pick him up. Allegedly.
I witnessed it. His feet were off the ground. It was a thing to behold. It was beautiful.
Yeah. All right, let's go quick over to Jim. Jim started out at 136. Give us what time when you got on the job, when you made the rescue for.
Well, I actually started out in 324 in 87.
Uh-huh.
I was the first probie there they had in 7 years. So it was all old timers there. I felt like it was actually pretty good for me. It worked out. You know, it taught me the ropes. And I got friendly with a couple of the chiefs in the 4-6, Vic Vitale being one. Big car guy. I was into cars. He had me come over driving for a little bit, put my paper into the truck, went to 136, spent some time at 136. And then like Tommy Mackery, Richie Euler, a bunch of those guys were up at Rescue 4. I kind of helped out with Tommy Williams' funeral and a couple other things. So they said, you know, come up and, you know, talk to the captain. And next thing I was up at Rescue 4.
Who was the captain there then?
Well, it was Captain Hickey at the time.
Okay.
And I was friendly with Terry Farrell. So that was kind of like my in. Terry talked to, you know, Brian Hickey. And
what year was this? Like
I wanted to say around, could have been 95, 6, somewhere around there.
All right, so you were already in rescue when the squads came.
Yeah, I was already in rescue when the squad
What was
started,
the thinking when, I know what Mike's going to say, but we've already heard Mike. What was the thinking of the rescue when the squads were coming? Like,
you know, for me, it was no big transition because when I was in the 4-6, I was already working in hazmat and everything else. We did decon all the time. The battalion provided the manpower.
Right.
So I already knew all the guys. No big deal for me.
Right, but what about the thought of now you got another bunch of guys coming in trying to take a piece of your work, or was there any?
I don't know. Mike probably has more to say about that.
About everything.
Was this dump on Mike? Come on.
So, Mike, what do you say? What was the feeling when the squads came out? Like,
Yeah, you know what? I got to tell you something. I know I'm not here to piss off the extremely stupid unit guys because I know a lot of them. But I always felt that, you know what? Let's get squads involved. Let's get more people out there because the problem always was before squads, rescue was by themselves. So by the time we got the places, it was too late. So by having squads, who I have no problem with squad. I think I'm a positive guy about it. I always was in favor of it. The more we have a chance to push the tide back out to sea. And I think having squads, and they're still putting them into place, like in Staten Island recently, it keeps them at bay, and rightfully so. I mean, I got to be honest. We're the best trained. You need a lot of manpower. Squads and rescues can provide that. We all work together at the Rock for 2 weeks at a time. And let me tell you something. To guys to go to squad or rescue, you have a side job. A lot of guys didn't want to do that because they had a side job. I mean, there were times where you were sent up to Wappinger Falls,
Montauk Falls.
Academy. Right. Thank you, Ray. You were sent here, there, or you went to the Rock for 3 weeks, or you were asked, hey, Mike, can you train for a couple of weeks? We need some guys at the rescue school. You got to go. So I think the guys that ended up in squads and rescues really were determined to maybe lose some money or not see their kids all the time, to do the right thing and become part of a great operation, SOC.
Right.
Rest
I just had a kid tell me the other day from 176 truck that he's thinking about going to SOC. And I said, hey, just realize, man, that there's a lot that you have to put into that. There's a lot of time. Like me and Ray remember we went to Alabama together. We went to, it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time that you're going off
We went to Las Vegas for the radiation school.
Yeah. And the bomb school.
Yep.
Yeah. Ray, they loved us, Ray and I.
The traveling show.
No, but so you know what, Kevin? It is a lot of time away from your family.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, man.
It's a big commitment, and you know what?
It's even more so now. I mean, Rescue Tech is 3 weeks long. The Rescue Tech class is 3 weeks long.
I know you guys get extra money, which I thought was a great move by the last mayor before the other two Democrats. But at the end of the day, you have to have your heart involved, your soul involved, and your body involved. It's as simple as that. It's not doing a 24 anymore. You're training, you're going to special calls, you're doing a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I got to say, all the squad guys, I got along with them. Never had any issues with any of them. I feel like we all work together well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Mike was saying, you need a lot of manpower at these things. A trench, a collapse. You need manpower, and
even a road job. You need so many guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was Mike. That was like what we talked about the 292 engine and 160. They're the only two companies. They're the only two companies on the job that are housed with a rescue. And before we went to SOC, they would drill with us. They could work overtime in the rescue. They could do a mutual in the rescue. Once we went to SOC, that stopped.
Right.
And it was a shame. It was a shame because look, there was some guys in the engines that didn't want anything to do with the rescues, but there was some guys that liked it. They knew the truck, they knew the tools, they knew where they were. And I always thought it was kind of foolish of the job not considering like a pilot program and making both of those engine companies rescue support engines. Because you have a rescue support truck down the road that never drills with the rescue. They don't know anything about the tools on the truck. These guys, it's 25 guys in the firehouse.
Right.
And they could be an asset to the rescues and to SOC. And I never understood why they didn't try that out. And look, some guys in those companies, if that happened, they say, look, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. But then other guys that may want to come to a rescue may say, you know what, I'm going to go to that company.
Right.
And then the captain and the officers in the rescue, they get a look at those guys, And I just think it just enhances those two rescue companies even more, and SOC.
I just want to add one thing to a point that Eddie made about pre-SOC. I knew everybody in the 14th Division, and especially the 4.6, the 4.9, Jimmy Finnell, others, because I wasn't in SOC. I worked with these guys. I knew these guys. So I got to tell you, as good as SOC is, they lost a piece of the puzzle by not allowing guys like me in rescue to work with guys like Jimmy or someone else in 136, 154, whatever it was, 307.
You need some grounding every once in a while.
What's that?
Yeah.
You need some grounding every once in a while to see what the guys are doing, to see what's going on in the line companies,
Well, you know what?
Ray, to your, let me one say, Ed, and I'll let you take over. To your point, Ray, the whole thing was I knew the guys by their first names. They knew what I could do. I knew what Jimmy could do. I'm just using Jimmy as an example. And it worked. And that we lost that in the transition. I'm glad SOC became a separate unit. Don't get me wrong. But we lost our connectivity with the local companies that we run in with. And that's a shame. I hope I wish they could change that somehow. I rest my case.
Right.
Yeah.
When I was in 136 and we spent a year up there when they redid our firehouse. It was great spending a year with the guys up there in rescue and everything. Picked up a lot of good info.
Yeah.
Jimmy, that way you were with 292 and Rescue 4 on Queens Boulevard?
Yeah. We went up there when they redid 136
and
287. We spent about a year there.
My first house was 292, and the guys from Rescue 4 were the guys that taught me that I should go someplace else and learn a job. And Tommy Williams, God rest his soul, he's the one that got me into 108.
Mhm.
But it was all from the Rescue 4 guys that said, you got to learn a job, kid. And they taught me so much. I just can't, they changed my career.
Well, there's always a give and a take. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. When we went to SOC, the plus side of that was we, in the rescues, got to know the guys in the other rescues, because you knew them a little bit, but you didn't get to work with them that much. So that was a plus. But again, losing what Mike said, that was the negative. Losing that local, knowing everybody in the battalion,
Right.
So there's a give and take on both sides.
Yeah.
And it's a tough thing to balance.
When I went to drive my brother my last year when I was on light duty, I got to know the guys in 324 really well. Like, that's one part that when you have a regular company in the house, I mean, when you're a SOC company, you lose some of that normal everyday firehouse stuff, like, the sports pools, and they're tight. They go to baseball games and we couldn't get a lot of guys to do that, man, because they're too busy. Just 5 guys off the chart going here. 1 guy's going there, one guy's training here. So it's hard. You lose that normal, cool firehouse stuff that happens. The guys sitting down watching the game, but we're drilling 3 hours a day. We had no time to watch the game. They're sitting on a Friday night watching a football game or the baseball game or whatever the hell it is, So I really appreciated that last year. I got really close to those guys in 324.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't forget.
I think you're right. Well, you know what? We have a lot of guys that are on the job as chiefs. Maybe some of this will soak in because we're bringing up great points. How to make it work better for FDNY, not worse. So, to Ed's point, Jimmy's, Ray's, yours, Kevin, mine, it is important to have that connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I got to be honest with you. There were guys in Rescue 4 that walked around like their shit didn't stink. And I got to be honest with you. You know what? Your shit did stink. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you were just a regular guy.
Because your farts gave you away.
If you only with a big head, I don't know what my answer would be. Study, become chief of department. I don't mean that in a bad way. If that's the way you want to go. But in reality, when you're in the trenches in a rescue or a squad, you really are with the rest of the guys, the truck and the engine. The fire doesn't get put out because of squad and rescue. It gets put out because basically the first and second do engine and truck do most of the hard work, and then we take up and they're still
Exactly, Mike. Exactly right.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yep. Where's us? Is our mystery guest? No. Is he in the back, Guns? Oh, he is.
Yes, that's what.
I don't see him in the back. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Boy.
All right, so we got a special rescue.
Michael, do you remember the elephant story in Rescue 4?
Yeah.
You remember that, Captain Joe?
Screw you.
Don't block, Cap.
Don't hold back. Really, how do you feel? All right, so who's telling the elephant story?
Well, you want to tell it, Cap?
Go, you tell it.
All right.
Perpetrator.
we come back from a job about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and we're in the back room having a coffee and what have you, and bullshitting. And allegedly, and Joe was the boss, and he says, just before that run came in, I was dreaming about elephants. So I kind of did the Irish exit out of the kitchen, and I went upstairs and I got this air horn trumpet, and I laid down under his bed in the floor. And he came up, he gets in his rack, lights are out. I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, finally, I'm ready. And I pick the trumpet up and I go,
Did he jump? Did he scream?
Did he jump?
I
saw him on the ceiling, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And I said, "It's probably those elephants you're dreaming about."
Mike, I can't see the mystery guest, so how am I going to ask him questions? I mean, Gons.
Well, if I show it, then everybody else will see who he is.
No. But can you see him right now?
Oh yeah, I can see him.
Oh, so just tell him they're going to be yes or no questions, and the yes is this, and the no is that. All right.
Okay.
So did you see that guest?
I don't see him.
Does he? He's there. Okay, yeah. You got
Maybe
okay.
my screen is too small or something.
Yeah, keep it that way. So because if I show them, they're going to figure out who it is. So
okay,
I'll scan to him when you ask the question, and I'll bring it back just in case somebody can see.
Mike, you want to ask the first question to the mystery guest?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you.
Did you retire before 2000?
Gons.
Did you hear he's
No?
No.
He did.
Yes.
He did not.
Okay.
He did not.
Jim?
Were you the guy in Staples or the supermarket that used to ask for all the single girls over the intercom?
No.
Ooh, that's a good question, Jim. I like that.
Were you ever an officer in Rescue 4?
Yes.
Cap?
Cheese man.
I said not for you to answer.
Not for you to answer,
you fucking.
He's an idiot. He's in squad. He's an idiot.
All right, we're going to bring him in.
That's great.
You dick! I told you would know who he is.
Salute.
Cheese. God, did you get the thing I
Cheese
said?
to you, cheese man.
I think it was gone already when Bob got there.
Are you ready for it?
All right,
It
you know
ain't
what?
easy being cheesy.
I got a video actually of when Cheese Man came for the first time and he walked into Rescue 4. Go ahead, play it, bro.
Here we go.
Not this one again.
You gotta make it louder, bro.
I'm holding. I'm working on it.
You gotta back it up then.
His kid brother.
And make it louder.
See if this is it, because this is as loud as I got it.
Is that you? Hello, Mitch. Bernard.
Not working.
Change much. Jeannie, you remember Cheese, Rodney's kid brother? Actually, my name isn't Cheese anymore.
It isn't cheese anymore.
Oh yeah, Cheese.
He locked you in a dumpster. Hey, isn't that Cheese?
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, Cheese?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Throwing guys around on the mat? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You tie up anybody like a pretzel? What'd you do tonight?
I choked a few people.
Like a Smithwick choke or like a legal choke? What kind of choke?
A good choke.
A good choke.
I don't golf. What can I tell you?
Golfing's for pussies anyway.
Yeah.
All right, who worked with the Cheese? Jim, do you work with the Cheese?
No, I think I was gone already when he got there. He got there after I left.
Yeah, the Cheese man is like recent history. These guys are all relics.
Yeah.
Oh.
But here's the difference is that I'm not a young guy, but I was
we know.
a young fireman in 301 and 150, and all of these guys were in the rescue. And I used to look up to every single one of these guys when
Yeah, except me.
on the
Wow.
Mike, I can't even look at you. I'm blocking you off right now. Get me out of here. Really? God, that's disgusting.
You got what year did you get to the rescue, Cheese?
I went there 2005.
What year did you retire, Jimmy?
I retired in 2005. I did a year down at Roosevelt Island.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Cheese was just
But
coming in.
I worked with Jimmy a lot on details and stuff like that. Plus, we all went to the rescue school about the same time.
Right.
Yeah,
You were in SOC before that.
Yeah. No, I was in 252. You know,
He was a 252 dude.
an original member of 252.
So,
Eddie,
Cheese, can I ask a question? So you
Huh?
work with Kuvakis.
Yeah. DK, all Leatherface.
Tommy and I were in the same probie class.
Leather puss.
Leatherface. Yeah, all because he was always having a son. So, yeah, skin like that.
Now, Ed, you never worked with the Cheese, right?
I was lucky enough not to. Yeah.
You're just mad because I'm taller than you.
That's
Everybody is.
You said you weren't going to bring that up.
Oh, there we go. Have it.
all right. So listen, let's talk about some fire stories. Let's get some Rescue 4 fire stories.
Oh, there weren't any.
All right, who's going? I want to hear a good fire story from each one of you from Rescue 4. Maybe one that sticks in your mind. Maybe one that you're like was an oh shit moment for you, or maybe it was a fire that. We have to talk about Jimmy's Grabs too. Well, let's hear about different fire stories. Let's hear one from the captain first. Well, even though he was on, maybe one that you didn't tell us. A good Rescue 4 fire story.
Man alive.
Put him on the spot. You want to go second?
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking in them terms because there's so many damn. All right.
So many to choose from. So many to choose from.
You want to go second?
Well, yeah, let me go second. Let me.
Who wants to go? Who's got one on the tip of their tongue?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Ed.
We were working one night. The Duke was the boss, John Dillon. And we get a box. We're going to be first due into this box. And 288's the first due engine. We're going to be the first due truck. We get into the box. 88 gets in there naturally ahead of us. They go in, and we're waiting outside to get a signal. And all of a sudden we hear 163 gives our box number, urgent 1075. Like, we're sitting here. There's no fire. The Duke gets on the handy-talkie, calls 88, says, what do you got? He said, I got food on the stove. He said, 163 just gave an urgent 1075. They were the second due truck coming in. What it was, 2 blocks away, it was a 2-story frame. The first floor was fully involved. The whole front of the house was fully involved. We got in there real quick, right with 292. And 163 is now out on the sidewalk with the mother and 2 kids, giving them mouth-to-mouth and CPR. And the officer from 163 told the Duke, there's 2 more kids in there. So myself, the Duke sends me and Casalino around the back of the building to try and get up to the second floor. So I end up going up the stairs. Pete went up. He might have went up a ladder. And then later on, Charlie Pavoni, who was the chauffeur, he went up. And I found one of the kids. He was 8 years old. Trying to remember his name now. Joe, you remember him. They owned a bar. The family owned a bar on Woodside. Finnegan. Jason Finnegan was his name. 8 years old. Brought him out, revived him, but he died in the emergency room later on. And Charlie brought out the 3-month-old baby. Charlie stepped in the window and stepped on top of the baby. And when he brought the baby out, nobody thought the baby was going to make it. But luckily, the baby did live. But the reason why Jason died, Jason was out of the house, but he went back in the house to save the baby.
Wow.
And something that kind of sticks in my mind, especially around when the holidays are coming up. I never forget this kid because of what he did. And it was about a month before my son was born, and so I always remember Jason Finnegan and the heroics that this 8-year-old tried to do and gave his life for that. So, but it was just a crazy thing, them giving a 1075 2 blocks away. They rolled into it.
How quick did you guys go 10-8 from the food on the stove?
Oh, we were out of there in a hurry. We were gone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And when we pulled up, the whole front of the house was on fire.
Right.
So that was, to me, that was of the many unusual ones, that was kind of like a really unusual because of the way it went.
So that one sticks in your mind.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go next?
Listen, you asked me. I'll give you a fast one.
Okay, go.
If you want. This is a fire that it was not a spectacular fire or anything. It was just tragic. And every time, for some reason, that I'm cooking by myself, I think of these kids. I don't know why. I get it's. I guess it's traumatic syndrome or something. But anyhow, it's way out in Jamaica. And remember the old station wagons, and they had the fold-down seat that faced the rear, right by the rear window.
Yep.
And the kids would all sit back there and make faces at you and wave and everything, you know. So it was out in South Jamaica someplace, and there was 3 little black boys in the back seat, and somebody rear-ended the car. The car blew up, and we got there, and the 3 of them are sitting there, burnt, just unbelievably burnt, and just like natural though. They were just sitting there like with their hands on their knees, and they were sort of like looking at us, but they were all dead, but they didn't seem dead, but they were burnt to a crisp, and I could never ever get that out of my mind. To this day, I can't get it out of my mind, and that's at least 35 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. Wow. It's unbelievable. And, you know, that's one of the fires and rescue for that affected me really to the core. And it still affects me to this day for some reason. I don't know why, you know? So little things like that.
Yeah. Who's up? Who wants
Me?
to go? I don't care.
Well, talking about things that stick in your mind, I think everybody in that screen could tell you about my career. It's good, bad, and ugly. All I can tell you. But anyway, we all train on the Wizard Tour, and one time we got a special call to the Rockaways. I don't even know if the hospital's still there. Well, apparently someone had put I'll be polite, a penis ring around his penis. And usually when we do Wizard School, you take the rings off.
It's a cock ring.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cheese Man, are you okay now, Cheese Man?
You know, we all felt bad for the guy.
I feel better.
Because, you know, you walk in there with an enlarged penis, and then you got these 6 rescue guys gawking with the emergency room crew, the nurses, and, you know, he may have been cheating on his wife. Who the fuck knows?
He said this.
So
That's a huge
bitch.
Sorry, Mama. Go ahead.
We had to, you know, make believe it was a finger because you had to put that, you know, some kind of piece of metal underneath it,
right?
So you don't.
Hey, Mike, excuse me, Mike. Who held the dick?
That's
Did you hold it like
story.
this?
That's
Did you
another
go like
story.
this? How'd you hold it?
Was it like this?
I didn't get to do much. But they
I've never done this before.
They put it like a
Mike held it, but he was going like this. They're like, Mike, stop moving your hand.
Because he had the lube on there. They were trying to get the ring off.
Yeah, right. That would have
They
Wear your
put like a
gloves.
cloth
My.
and immobilized him. He was standing up, and he had an erection, and we were able. Doug Sloan was involved, and who later became a
Doug under the bus.
and we were able to relieve the pressure
Right.
and give some normalcy back to
That's
this
a good thing when you can
life.
relieve the pressure.
Oh yeah.
Now,
We got
if you want to
great
keep talking
fire
about
stories and then
penis,
cock.
I have
Yeah.
another story, quick one. We were in the mid '80s. We were doing a lot of work in the Rockaways. All right, and Chief Hart, who demoted himself to be battalion chief down there, was getting livid with all the guys missing bodies, and Rescue 4 finds them. So anyway, we're coming back, and it had to be about 4:00 in the morning. So it does kind of have, it's one penis to another penis, and I'm not a penis, but I'll be the penis. So we were coming back, and it involved Doug Sloan again. And, you know, guys like to have fun. So I'm on the back of the rig like this. You know, we're all sleeping. It was the R model. That's how old it was. So that like had to be the mid '80s. So I'm sitting back there, and I'm out. Thank God he didn't put it in my mouth. He takes out his loaf and puts it in my hand. And at first, you know, you're out. You go like, doesn't feel normal, but maybe it's just me. And then finally, we hit a bump, and I woke up, and there's Doug Sloan's penis in my hand. So that's my fire stories.
How does that happen?
Listen,
You wanted it there. You needed
it there. Wait a minute. Did it wind up? It was your hand, you said, right? Your hand it was in?
Was on Doug's penis.
All right, not just your hand.
My hand, no,
Yeah, I thought I heard mouth earlier.
I don't know what he said.
was sealed.
Yeah.
Well, you must have came in from the right side. According to
Well, you know what?
He's like, it wound up in my hand.
Well, my
I've never
future
done this
wife thought
before.
I was gay because I wear red scarf. So, you know, I had a tendency to be maybe a little bit weird, but I definitely wasn't gay. But that.
Hey, Mike, if that
was some
that's
fire
okay
story.
with that, bro. Yeah, great fire story. All right, Jim, I hope you got a better fire story than the penis stories. Go ahead, Jim. What do you got?
I'll tell you the Rescue 4 one then.
You can tell a 136
Get a box.
if you want.
It's right on the other side of Queens Boulevard. And we shoot over there, and it's Collier's mansion, pretty much fully involved. They can't make the front door. 292 is trying to make a push. They can't get in. We're around the side of the building. Captain Hickey's there. I don't know why Captain Hickey's on his side, because Captain Hickey and Daldell were both there. And I'm not sure the circumstances a while ago, but Captain Hickey goes, "What do you think if I put you in that window?" And I'm looking at the window, and his flames coming out the top of the window, and I'm like, okay. You know, I was kind of new there, and I'm like, all right, if Captain says he can put me in the window.
It's a test, Jim. It's a test.
Yeah, so up I go, and I'm in the window, and I'm searching around. I find a guy on the floor. I didn't really know it was a guy at first. I just, felt something. I knew it was a body. So I get the guy, and I'm dragging him, and John Gang comes in behind me. So I give you a hand. And John comes in, and we pass the guy out, and the room lights up. And I just dive out the window, and they kind of catch me as I'm coming out the window. And, that was really it. Then, 292 eventually got in. They knocked it down, put the fire out. And it was a good job. And it was really like 2 blocks away from the firehouse.
Is
It
that
was
the one
just
where they
a
didn't have
lucky
Metal
night.
Day that year?
Metal Day got canceled. There was no Metal Day because we had the Father's Day fire. We had 9/11. Metal Day was canceled that year.
Now, what you did get a medal? What were you, a 136?
I did get a medal when I was in 136 at Left Rack.
All right, tell us that story quick, bro.
We went up on the upper floors. I want to say it was maybe about the 12th floor, and we're up there, and it's banked down the hallway. The door was open to the apartment. The hallway's charged, and we get down there. Lieutenant Gonzalez was working. A couple other good guys I worked with. Paulie Archer, I think, was working that day. And we make our way in there, and they're knocking it down with the can, and the can burst. The can actually exploded in the apartment. And I get past the kitchen, and I find this old woman. Yeah, there's the can right there. He's holding it. Actually, the fellow holding the can, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. He's a battalion chief, maybe a deputy right now.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, great guy. So I find a woman in a wheelchair, and I pull her out, and we get it down, and we get an EMS, and she actually survived. She was in her late 80s. She actually survived, and that was when I was in 136, and we went to Metal Day that year. That was a good job. We had a lot of jobs in Left Rack. When I was in 324 and 136, we had a lot of jobs.
A nightmare. Those buildings are a nightmare, man.
It's all project type.
Went off, I'm telling you, it was like a bomb going off. It was loud.
Yeah, lucky it didn't kill you.
Yeah.
Who was that? Go back to that picture. Gons.
That was Jeff. What's his name? Jeff
Meister? No.
Meister. Jeff Meister.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I want to say he's a deputy now.
Wow. Now who's the boss? The black guy on the left, bro.
That's Ray Smith.
I worked a job where I found him in the shaft when he fell through the shaft.
Right. He got hurt pretty bad there. I think that was maybe career ending.
Yeah, I found him in the shaft, bro. It was just a freaking there. I was searching the adjoining, and I hear him screaming. I hear his pass alarm going off. I'm like, holy shit, there's somebody in the shaft. It was him. It was fucking banked down to the ground. And he couldn't get up because he broke both his legs, I think it was.
Right.
Yep. So we had to break the window and pull him up through the window.
Wow. Remember who the boss was in that picture?
Oh, you need
Gonzalez, he said, right?
Gonzalez. Richard Gonzalez. He had a brother on the job too. I think was in 126. I think was an officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a pretty hard charger. What happened to him?
Yeah, Richie, I lost touch. He kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Wow.
Because 136 is pretty tight. Everybody gets together for a lot of things, but I don't see Richie.
Those guys, especially those years, like 154, you guys, 130, they were doing a lot of work then, bro. We were always going to them.
Yeah, we used to run up a lot. I used to see your brother all the time. We'd run up there by 154.
Oh, the rug. The rug.
Yeah. I want to say he was like my last job before I went like duty. He was working that job up there.
Maybe. Yeah, he had the worst rug you could possibly. I mean, I love him to death, but he had the worst rug you could possibly imagine.
Always working out though, right? He always had the short cut-off shirt.
He always had the cut-off shirt, but he would be smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee while he's working.
Yeah, slicing a cigarette.
Yeah. So one time I have dinner at my house with him, his wife, my brother Steve, my brothers, and John Hopkins and his wife Mary. So I don't know what I said. I said something about the rug, and he got fucking pissed off. He's like, "Fuck, no, don't fucking talk about the rug," So the next day he goes, "You're a fucking scumbag. Those people didn't know I had a fucking rug." I'm like, "Dude, they didn't know you had a rug." I said, "The fucking blind guy down the block knows you wear a fucking rug."
Everybody knew.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Maury's big. Don't come off in water.
Yeah. All right, Cheese, you're up, kid.
Probably the one that sticks out the most in my mind is the collapse on Walton Avenue in the Bronx when we were special called there because the floor had collapsed, and when we got there, we parked up on the I think it was the Grand Concourse, and then we had to make our way down the hill. It was John Gain.
Yeah, John was. I worked there that day too.
Yeah, DeVito. I'm having brain farts here. Hasek, Brindisi, all those guys. So we get in. Make a long story short, 41 pops out of the Bilco door for the basement. We go through the basement. We breach the wall between the two buildings, and we ended up. Brindisi got the lieutenant car pluck, grabbed his ankle. I said, "I'm down here with my
Proby, right?
My Proby. He's got the nozzle. He's right beneath me." So we cut a lot of plywood and stuff around him. I'm talking to the guy, it's clear as day, and he's telling me the whole time, that my can man's, my nozzle man's right beneath me. You got to get him out. And, as I'm talking to him, I can tell he's like, I'm trying to put a mask on him. And, now we got guys bringing tools in, cutting plywood, cutting lumber. There's other companies above him coming down below. Get him out, and then, the chief from the SOC battalion is trying to pull us out. And I look at, I think it was Yakimovic, right? That's his name? Yakimovic?
Yeah, Yakimovic.
He's telling me, "You got to get out of here. You've been down here too long." I says, "We're not getting out of here until I get this lieutenant out of there." And so we stayed down there a long time. And eventually got him out, put him on a stretcher, got him out. And then they ended up getting, what was the guy's name? Mike Riley out. Too from up above.
He was a probie, wasn't he? He was fairly new on the job.
He was a military veteran,
right?
And
Flushing kid.
That was not so much as far as a fire, because the fire was pretty much out by the time we got there. But I'm looking up in the sky basically, and I got reefer units hanging above me, and there's all kinds of shit just falling down. This place is just full of canned goods and shampoo, and it's slippery. And they had already pulled a bunch of guys out. But knowing that the lieutenant was alive when we pulled him out, and I'm talking to him, and I knew his family. His father was my mechanic.
Wow.
And so just knowing that, and he didn't survive. one
That
night.
was the amazing part, Cheese. Like he was talking the whole time.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I think what happened was the position of his body. He was talking to me. He was like laying straight down, but his body was at a right angle. And I heard things at the funeral. I spoke to the family afterwards because I was basically the last person that talked to him alive. And he had a lot of internal injuries and stuff like that. So once they relieved the pressure,
Yeah.
Let out.
he bled out. And even though we had that rescue medic program that we
They were in the
started-
basement when we got there. Those guys.
yeah. I mean, those guys that started the line on them and everything, but sometimes there's certain things you just can't control.
Yep.
And so that every August, I reach out to the guys that work that fire, Johnny Gaines and DeVito and Jerry O'Shea and all those guys, just to let them know. I said, and this is what I said to them right after the fire. I got them all at the back of the rig. I said, look, I've been to a lot of these things. I said, but I've never been more proud of the actions that my men did that day. And I think that's, a lot of the guys, Mike and Captain Sassone will say, the guys in the rescues and the squads, they will go 150 miles an hour to get the job done.
Yep.
Till they're at the point of exhaustion. I mean, I think I had to send Will Hassick to the hospital because he was like his body was shutting down. And to be honest with you, we all should have gone to the hospital.
It was shitty down there, man. Although the
Oh,
fire,
I had a headache for a week after.
Yep.
I should have gone. I should have gone to the hyperbaric chamber.
Yep.
But I'm a stubborn giddy, and I didn't go, and neither did anyone else. Don't think that we don't let Hassick forget that he was the only one that was sick from that fire.
You're torturing that poor guy.
We got to get him on, bro. We got to get him, and listen. Mike said he'd reach out. We got to get Johnny Gain on the show. He keeps telling me no.
I'll get Johnny for you. I got to say one thing. Listen to all these stories.
Right.
You know what? It's funny. A lot of people that are watching this show perceive us going to talk about this big fire, this big this big that. But it seems to be a commonality among most FDNY guys. It's those little jobs that stick in your mind, right? And I think that's important because it shows how humble we are, how focused we are, and it's those little things that mold us into what we are as firefighters and officers. And I'm just going to add this one thing, and then you can move on, Kevin. It's a mundane story. I was detailed to Squad 1. Al Fuentes was the boss. And we get an EMS call because I think in those days, Squad 1 was knocking them dead with EMS. So we go to some spot in Brooklyn. I think it was the first or second floor. We go in there. I think she had been dead for a while. We did the vitals. Nothing there. She died of AIDS. And all I remember is looking up. She was in bed, looking up to the bedstand and seeing a photograph of her when she was vibrant, beautiful, and didn't have AIDS. So, I think we're like I said, we're all humble guys. You can read all the books you want and watch all this stuff about FDNY, but the commonality that is on this screen is what makes FDNY unique. I'm sorry if I step on toes. We see a lot, but we treat every incident the same. 100%, 1,000%, 5,000%. We go out of our way to do the job. And unfortunately, there are a lot of line of duty deaths in FDNY, but we're all proud of what we did. And one more thing, everybody on this screen gives back in their own way. We all play it forward. And that's the key to the success of FDNY. We all give back, whether it's coming on this show, which is a home run, Kevin, or lecturing, writing books, volunteering in the local fire department. We all do our share to bring what we know forward to the next generation to make sure that we all play it safe.
That's what I tell guys when I try to get them on the show. I'm like, listen, you're not doing it for yourself. We're not here to really talk about your career per se, but it's what you can save for posterity. Because once you're gone, your stories are gone, your teachings are gone, your lessons are gone. The only way you can, live forever is by sharing your stories. I try to tell these chiefs, they're like, I don't want to talk about myself. I'm like, you're not really talking about yourself. You're talking about guys who made you who you are, and you're passing it down to the next generation.
Oh,
so,
the chief's company officers are only as good as the guys behind you.
I think
the guys in the trenches make every boss look good.
Okay,
exactly. And I think it's our job as guys that came through. I mean, Captain Sassone came through the whole war years, and he's got stories that can blow all of us out of the water. And he's passed those stories on, and he taught me how to be a good fireman, how to pass things on. And I always thought that was our job, even when we left the job. Pass on your knowledge to the new guys, because when you looked at 9/11 and the amount of guys we lost, not only the 343 guys that died that day.
Well, how many guys from Rescue 4 died that day?
7, I believe. Was it 7, Mike? 7. Yeah. But not only those guys, but the guys that retired after that. The amount of experience that this job lost after 9/11 was just unbelievable. I remember when you retired, you could go back to the firehouse for like 5 years, and there'd still be guys there that you worked with. When I retired, I went back like a year later. There was nobody there that I worked with except I think Michael. And
that was something that was that was a new experience for a lot of us.
Yeah, it was devastating.
At that time, I was a fireman in 252. And then I got promoted the week after 9/11. And then within 3 or 4 months, I was back as a lieutenant in Squad 252. And I was sent back there to rebuild that company because the same thing. And we lost, not only did we lose the guys that got killed that day, but guys that retired and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And for me, it almost became like that Groundhog Day. Every time I go into work to be a new guy, okay, we got to start all this training over again, and it was, 3 years of that. And when I got the opportunity to go to Rescue 4, it was like, first of all, it was a dream come true because I wanted to go there as a fireman, and I wasn't able to because, at the time there was no movement in the rescue at all. So when I was able to go there as a
I would have took you. I would have took you instead of Monahan.
Yeah. But
yeah, but you got stuck with me, so we'll have to live with it.
The check is in the mail, Joe.
Like a rocking the shoe on a hike.
It's one of the things I wish the job would allow guys that went through all of those years to come out to the fire academy and talk to the new guys.
Yeah.
And tell these new guys, teach them like history and tradition of this job, what this job is about. Because I always believed if you don't have this job in your heart, you don't belong on this job. It's Jack Kleehouse's father coined the phrase when he was on the job, it's not a job, it's a way of life. And it is, it's like becoming a priest. It becomes your way of life.
Yep.
And a lot of guys come on this job and they don't know that. What's that, Mike?
Watch that priest shit.
All right. Or a rabbi. A clergyman. How's that? Do we correct that?
Good job.
Man of faith.
Good. Nice.
But these are things that I think need to be passed to these new guys to let them know the history, why we are who we are, why this department has the reputation that it has. And the reputation of this job was built on guys for the past, 150 years, the things that we did, and a lot of guys come on this job today and they don't know that. They don't know the history of the job. A lot of guys don't even know why it's FDNY and not NYFD.
I got asked that question.
What's that?
I got asked that question by a guy.
Politics. Tammany Hall.
Yeah, it's in the city charter.
Yeah.
When at the turn of the century, when all of the boroughs and kind of became part of New York City, in the charter it says there shall be a New York City Police Department, and there shall also be a fire department of the city of New York. And that's why, and I believe we're the only fire department that are recognized fire department before the name of the city. That's another thing that makes us unique. You know
what? Guys need to, thank God there's a Getting Salty Experience podcast for guys to share these experiences, bro.
There were so many guys that made history for the job. And like I said, I look back at my time as a pro being one of the guys that made such a big difference in my career. And from what he taught me was a lieutenant in Rescue 4 named John Dillon. And he was just such a personality, such a source of information. I just think that we should talk about him a little bit because he was such a fountain of knowledge and such a character above everything else.
Well, can I tell a quick Duke story?
First time I saw him at a job in Queens.
Did I tell you the story when I was on before about Duke? When they sent me to Rescue 4 to straighten him out? Didn't I tell that story?
I think you did, but say it again.
Tell it again, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, when what the hell's his name was getting promoted, there was five. I think I told the story. There was five rescue captains. They were all Irish, and the Colombians were bitching and moaning. And Ray Brown was running rescue services at the time, and he was complaining to me that he didn't know what to do and all that stuff. So I said, "Well, I'm a member of the Colombians, and I'm a member of the Emeralds. So put me in there, and they can't say nothing. Neither one of them can bitch, So, I got interviewed by O'Rourke to be the captain of Rescue 4. And he says, well, you got the experience, you got this, you got that. He says, but we got a lieutenant there that needs to be straightened out. If you tell me you can straighten him out, I'll, we'll let you be, we'll give you the spot. And he says, John Dillon. I said, I won't have any problem straightening him out or anything. But he didn't know that he was one of my best friends.
I'll take care of that guy, Dillon.
I won't have any trouble straightening him out.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I says, John, just don't fuck up for a while, please.
All right, Ed, you got a Dillon story?
I got a Dillon story. This was funny. We're up on Woodside Avenue, and it's middle of the day, stopped at a traffic light, and the Duke looks over, and there's a gypsy cab office there, and there's a gypsy cab parked in a hydrant. And the Duke yells back to me, he goes, get the summons book. I get the summons book, I come out, we walk over there, and this Asian fella comes running out of the gypsy cab store. And the Asian guy wants to know if I speak Spanish. So I'm like, wait a minute. We're in America. Where are you from? And he goes, Korea. I go, so you're Korean and you want to know if I speak Spanish? So the Duke says to him, license and registration. And he gives it to the Duke, and the Duke looks at him and he goes, you're from Korea? And the guy goes, oh, yeah. He goes, north or south? And the guy goes, oh, south. And the Duke goes, lucky for you, move the car. But that was the Duke.
He was a commie bastard. Bob, what are you going to say, Cheese?
I forgot already.
You're getting old,
I might have
Bobby.
forgot already too, because I'm empty, bro. I don't know.
Was one of you
One
guys
thing about the
over
Duke.
there at the Rock when we were having sensitivity training when we were bringing the women on?
That was a great one.
When,
my.
And I
Do you
tell
remember
them,
that one, Mike?
Yes.
And I tell them before we go over, nobody say a fucking word. Don't say nothing. No questions, no nothing. We'll be out of here in no time. You know? So Dylan's with us. I guess they sent him over in overtime for sensitivity training. So we're sitting there, and the guy starts. It was a redheaded. I think it was a redheaded woman. She was a
Oh,
psychologist.
no talking to her.
Psychologist, and she says, she starts with her bullshit about the women and they're equal and blah blah blah. And she says, before we start, though, is there anybody have anything to say about this? And Dylan raises his hand, and I said, uh-oh, that's it. That's the end of the world for us. We'll be here till fucking New Year's. And she says, yes, Lieutenant, what is it? He says, we don't need no fucking women on this show.
Didn't you tell him to fucking cool it for a couple of months, bro?
That was
Rescue, take up.
We were there. No, they kept us there till about 5 o'clock. They wouldn't let us go. They reamed us in one way after another. Unbelievable.
Hello.
It's a friend.
Mike.
Holy. It almost sounds like they're rig
It's
phone.
the Duke.
Everybody goes.
The guy.
There he goes.
3 rings.
Mike, did you have a Duke story?
Well, I have a few, but the one that stands out, and it's only recently, after he died, Kitty, his wife, died. So the family sold the house in Holbrook, and he invited me over, and I didn't know why, other than I knew Duke, and I was a pallbearer at his funeral, and
Well, that might be it.
they had about 30 or 40 years worth of firehouse and fire engineering magazines, which I now have. And I thought that was great to have them because they were going to throw them out. So my goal is down the road, once they get the new library set up at the Rock, which I think it's transitioning, I believe. Right, Ray?
Yeah, Chief Leap said they're in the transition to go to all electronic, so it can be
I get
accessible
that.
to everybody. Yeah.
But I'm hoping to talk to Frank. I may see him on Saturday.
He'll be
Hey,
there.
listen, I have a ton of these magazines, and they're filled with a lot of FDNY stories, pictures, etc. And I would love to donate it to the library for the Rock. But I got to say about
Right.
At a really good price.
Look, I want to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't want to donate it to the Rock.
He wants to sell it.
You say you just want to. You don't want to pay to have somebody take them out of your house. That's all. Right?
You got to
Come on, admit it.
I got it. I got it.
Cheap bastard.
No, lady, tell them about the company qualified chauffeur, QCC.
Well, listen.
In reverse.
I'll tell you a story about Duke. Duke was, he was a teetotaler. I'll say it quite bluntly.
A what?
Everyone thought when they worked with Duke, he was drinking a 6-pack of Bud every night. He wasn't. He'd take one Bud, wrap it in the city supply brown paper towels.
Brown paper towel.
Yeah,
Or a glove.
guys. Yeah. And he'd have one beer in his Carhartt dungaree jacket, and we would drive the entire night, fires, whatever. He'd have the one beer. Everyone thought they had more than one beer. He never did more than one beer. But he did have a gentleman, Bill Billups, great guy, became the QCC, which became the qualified cooler carrier. And Bill Billups, and he's a great guy, the most religious guy.
Bill Billups. Wow, another name from the
Bill
past.
knows him very well. Would always stuff it with ice, a couple of buds, and that was Bill's nickname, the QCC. Not the qualified chauffeur, to qualify cooler carrier. And like I said, Duke had one beer, bring it upstairs, type away on the typewriters, but it was only one beer. He was Mr. Hursttool. I mean, even after
he repaired her tools on the side.
Right.
Yeah.
He worked for
I
Fire
think
Max.
that's what made him sick was the constant exposure to the hydraulic fluid.
I think you're right.
Gave him some sort of sickness.
Yeah.
But he would get
That's what they
special
said.
called, believe it or not.
Huh?
He get special called into the shops to work on tools, or he'd come to the firehouse and work on our tools. He was just I got to tell you something.
I think you got a picture of him there, Gonzo.
Okay, you might, Gonzo.
Yeah. I sent the pictures, kid.
Which, because I was looking for that because I was like, man, did I label this thing? Because I had the John. He's not in the John Gaines pick, right?
No, he's in the pics that I sent over.
Yeah, I have.
Have
I have them. The ones that we just went through. I was looking for it. I'm like, I know I had something. We just talked about him.
There's Duke. Jack Duggan is there. Tom Williams is there.
Tommy Williams, another great guy.
Oh.
108 guy. No.
Yep.
But
they were the lieutenants for me. I'm telling you, what an easy job I had with Williams and Duke and Jack Duggan. And then after the Duke left, we got Kenny Memon. And I had a great bunch of guys.
You had a good one,
wasn't that something?
It wasn't one of your trade center pictures, was it?
No.
He's out by then.
Yeah, I was just trying to. You got that one? Sorry, I could have sworn we said that. I thought I marked
it's
it.
It's just a Duke by himself.
That's what I thought it was. Okay.
All right, take your time, Chief.
Yeah, usually I'm well prepared.
Come on, Chief.
Well, you gotta, I don't want to hear that shit.
I guess you didn't have a test in pictures, did you?
He doesn't have a chief day. That's the problem.
That hat is squeezing his hair. He can't think.
I'm gonna kick your ass. Damn, I don't. Yeah.
You know what I wanted to say also while Gonzo's looking for that picture desperately.
I'm like, where the fuck did I put this thing?
The thing too about guys telling their stories, like those years when guys were going to fires all the time, that ain't coming back in any time soon. So they don't have that fire experience. So these stories are priceless. What they can take from these stories, or the old school tip of the day, or I get emails all the time from guys saying, "Oh my God, I listened to the show. I learned so much from the show." Because I don't believe that we're gonna have those warriors. I could be wrong, but
hopefully
not.
Yeah, you know what, Kevin, I kind of believe, and Ray, I think they're going to come back because the commercial real estate is tanking in New York City. The city is taking all these immigrants that can't afford it. They're asking all the police, fire, EMS, et cetera, to cut their budgets. I think the city is going to have some tough times.
It could, but I did a lot of research.
I don't want it to happen, but I got to tell you something. I don't think the John Lindsay Lears are that far away because Mayor Adams, I think there's going to be problems.
I think a lot of things have changed. The welfare system has changed in that they're not getting paid to relocate. I think that there'll be a lot less incentive to burn buildings, but I think there'll be a lot less maintenance, and I think that there will be more like the lithium battery fires. I think that the general situation will lead to more fires, but I don't think it'll be the same situation as the
That time in the 60s and 70s, I did a lot of research on it, and there was so many contributing factors that created the perfect storm, like Ray said, incentivizing people to burn themselves out. The insurance, the different things with insurance that was going on with these landlords were getting paid astronomical fees for a piece of shit properties where they have Gasoline Gomez burning them out, and the city looking to burn people out. It was cheaper to burn them out than to move them out. So there was so many contributing factors. It wasn't just economy. It wasn't just immigrants and all that other shit. There was so many things that played a part in the war years that I don't know if that's ever going to come back like that. So
No, probably
know,
not.
No, there might be other
Right.
reasons that could happen, but not those reasons anymore.
Right. So, like I said, that's why these stories that you guys tell, I mean, they're invaluable. I mean, for these
Well,
guys that
here's a
listen,
story I would love Joe Sassone to talk about.
it doesn't involve
Joe,
penises, does it, Mike? Because I don't want to hear
no,
another
but
penis story.
it involves some Irish girls in Boston. So if you want to tell that story, Joe, please.
Oh, I didn't tell that story before.
No, this is a
I
new
don't
one.
think so.
We bet Rescue 2 in Boston on the '86 World Series, the Mets against the whatever the Red Sox.
Red Sox. Yeah.
So the
Whoever.
deal was, whoever won had their choice. We'd go there, or they would go here, and get T-shirts, right? So the Mets pulled off that miracle, and we decided to go to Boston and hang out with them in Rescue 2, and they would give us all T-shirts. So we went up. How many guys, Mike? Maybe 15, 20 guys? I don't know how many.
Yeah.
It was a lot of guys, 12,
You're right.
say a dozen guys. We go up and we're in a firehouse there, and we're treated to a great dinner and everything. So then we go out down to Faneuil Hall. So I tell these guys, I said, this is an Irish joint. This is Irish. We're going to the Russian Do. It's a Black Rose. That's the translation. I said, everybody here is Irish. So my name is Joe Shannon. I'm not going to be Joe Sassone in the Russian Do. I said, Joe Shannon. So we go in there, and there's Irish footballers in there. There's everybody. The place is rocking and rolling to the rafters. Bang, 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 bang. As usual, it ends up, everybody falls by the wayside. They fall by the wayside. Now it's late at night, and there's 4 people in the joint. Me and Mike Milner and 2 nice blonde Boston girls. Nice Irish lasses. So me and Mike are making really, really good headway. And we're on the cusp of
Success.
of euphoria,
Exploration.
and so finally the girls ask our name, and I said, "Oh, I'm Joe Shannon." Oh, that's great, And he said, "Well, I'm Mike Milner." And she says, "Well, what's Mike Milner?" She says, "Well," he says, "Well, my mother's Irish and my father's Jewish." And this girl looks at him and she says, "I hate fucking New York Jews."
You're out.
Wow.
You should have said Michael Milner, for Christ's sake.
Michael Milner.
She said, I thought I almost dropped dead. Poor Mike, he's just like, what? I thought, oh, Mike, what the hell you from?
Mike went like this.
Oh my God. And he says, I'm proud of my heritage. But that didn't work. They turned on their heels and left the 2 of us standing there by ourselves. So there's 2 schmucks in the bar late at night. It's about 2 or 3 in the morning. So now we got no place to go. The bar's closed. Me and Mike go out, and we're looking around for someplace open. There ain't no place open except a downstairs basement Chinese restaurant. Right. So here's me and Mike all screwed to the Mickey downstairs at a fucking Chinese restaurant. We should have been upstairs with the 2 blonde Colleens, but we weren't. And we got the, Chow Ming there serving his fucking chum gooey and fried rice or some fucking shit.
Wow.
And I'm cursing, Mike, you son of a bitch. Why'd you say
Some
that?
gooey. You
You'll
wishing,
never let me
you wishing the
regret
broads were eating some gooey that night, bro, but you were eating some gooey.
Something
Remember,
wrong.
Mike?
To some dumb fucks to go.
Yeah.
God, did you find that picture? What are you doing?
I don't see it in here. I don't see a single photo, so
I think Joe Schneiderman sent you something.
yeah, that's what I
Go
was
to the
just
wall.
Come on, Pete. I mean, Gonzo. What are you
man.
doing, bro?
I'm going to beat your ass.
Say hello to Joe Schneiderman.
You can
Good
tell.
man.
Schneiderman.
Home is a lot smaller than
Chief,
he sent me this.
Here you go.
Here's the Duke, and that's
Which one's-
Billy.
Which
That
one's
is
the
Billy,
dude?
Yeah, Phillips.
qualified crew.
Duke on the left.
Mike Loftus.
Yeah, see, we don't have a single picture of him in
All
there.
the way on the left?
All the way on the left.
Looking good there, boy.
Who's the guy in between Mike and the Duke?
Mike Loftus. His uncle was the chief of the department.
Older than dirt.
Yeah, Mike Loftus.
And who's the other guy?
That's Billy Billups,
Billy
the QCC.
Oh, that's Billy Billups?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
He became a
reverend or something, right?
well,
Amen, brother.
He became a Eucharistic minister in St. Hugh of Lincoln Church in Huntington. And he comes up to me. He was a bay constable in Huntington Harbor. And he comes up to me and he says, Joe, he says, I'm now a eucalyptus minister. right. It was right out of what the hell was their name? That show. But the way they talked and that, but that's what he said.
Oh, Billy Miro. And who's the other guy?
Eula.
Loftus. Euler. I don't know who the guy in the yellow shirt is or the green shirt.
Who's the guy in the yellow shirt? He looks familiar.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say Joe was on his name
Oh
tag.
yeah, Joe Jesus.
Yeah. He was from Rescue 4?
Exactly.
Yeah, he came with 33 truck.
Billy Miro. I thought he was a 126 guy, Billy Miro.
No, Billy went to Rescue 4 for a while.
too.
Yeah. Oh, he was in the Union, right? Wow, that doesn't even look like Richie Euler. How long ago was that?
That's 76.
Anniversary.
The 75th anniversary, I think.
75th anniversary.
So when was that?
I'll see Richie next month down south.
Right when I got there.
Richie should be on the show.
We got to get Richie on the show, bro. 111
Richie
guy.
be great on the show.
Oh, there's Gaines, Johnny Gaines, big Richie Schmidt.
Hey, that's the 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
Joe Gandiello ran that.
Who's the guy in between Richie Schmidt and I forget that lieutenant's name?
That's Sullivan.
Right, yeah, Sully.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Sully's in the red shirt.
No, who's in between Sully and Richie Schmidt?
I don't know that guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
I think he crashed the party.
Photo bomber.
Hey, Kevin?
Yeah.
I just want you to know Joe's a very pious man. Okay.
Joe who?
And
Joe Mama.
Joe Sassone. He's a very pious man.
Oh, I think his sister's a nun, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's it.
Well, he was actually going to become a priest, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Yes.
I still may. I might. I'm thinking about it.
Listen, don't chase the altar boys around the altar and grab them by the organ. All right. You heard that, Joe?
I'm listening.
Don't chase the altar boys around the altar and grab them by the organ. All right.
Say amen.
Nice.
And his sister, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Right, Joe?
Pardon me?
Your sister's a sweetheart. I met her a few times.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Thank God for her. She makes up for me.
Where did she work, Joe?
Yeah, I think so.
St. Hugh of Lincoln now. She worked in that parish right next to 120 truck for 20 something years, 25 years, right down the block from 120 truck. There's a Catholic church there.
Yeah.
She was there for 20, 25 years.
Wow.
Then she came out to Huntington.
Doing the work of the Lord.
Yeah,
I think Jim's bringing that over to the Fireriders. He wants to do the work.
Yeah. You know who I see all the time? Your boy, believe it or not, who rides all the time? Phil McCardle.
Get out of here!
All the time.
He lost a lot of weight.
Fireriders?
He's in Fireriders. He rides a trike. He comes around all the time.
Come on.
Big for a motorcycle?
Yeah, he runs the raffle, everything. And he's tough, man. Just like he was at the firehouse, he's tough.
Yeah, he never changed.
Another tough life. He lost his son.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. His brother just passed away.
He lost his son not too far after 9/11.
Yes, yeah.
His son died. And I don't know if you know this.
Twin brother?
He does.
He did. His brother passed away not quite a year ago.
His brother was in ESU, I think.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I got
you
a
know-
funny.
you know
I got
what-
a McDonald story. He tried to. He wanted to go knuckle up with me one time, bro, in the TV room. So
What'd you do to him? You had to be tortured him.
Dude, he was sitting in the recliner, the lazy boy, and my buddy Blaze was laying sleeping in the couch. And I was gonna go over and I was gonna fart right in Blaze's face. But I didn't know he wasn't sleeping. He was pretending to sleep. So when I fucking pulled my drawers down, I went to fart on him and he kicked me. And I wound up farting right in Phil McCardle's face, bro. The only bad part was dude, this is what I don't know if he's still heavy. He couldn't get out of the fucking. He couldn't get out of the recliner, bro. He was like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, Goobler." He couldn't get out of the recliner. True story, bro.
No, he's still like that. He's good. He's got a lot of health problems right now, Phil, but he's okay.
Sucks. Phil's a great guy, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you know this story about Phil on 9/11. Supposedly, he got an early relief because he had a dentist appointment.
Yep.
And missed 9/11, and I think it was 2 or 3 weeks later, his son was killed in that car crash.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, just strange.
Yeah,
He's the only guy in hazmat that missed that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that happened to him. It's terrible.
Actually, there were two guys that were working that day that missed it. Bobby Hunter and Castagna. They were in the rig, and they pulled the rig away. They were there when the building.
They were the
fell.
resource guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
one was resource and one guy was the chauffeur or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. Something like that.
Now they
I got one. Go ahead,
They
Mike.
survivor's guilt, bro.
I was just gonna say, survivor's guilt. That's a big issue with guys and women across the country. I mean, I have horror stories of my own
I'll be back.
situations with survivor's guilt. All right, take care of that colostomy bag, Joe.
I will, yeah.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of guys that teach line of duty, May days, and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't talk about the after effects. Okay, and believe me, I'll use Pete McLaughlin as an example. When he died at that fire, Kenny Memon, who was my best man at a wedding, it ruined his career.
Which one?
You beat me to it, right? Which wedding?
There are tons of battalion chiefs, officers that just said, you know what? I had it. I missed it, right? Went over my head.
We said which wedding?
Oh.
All right.
The issue is that no one wants to discuss the elephant in the room, which is survivor's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because
And Mike, can I interject, Mike?
Absolutely.
I mean,
please,
Rescue
Ray.
4 has so many line of duty deaths when you were there and when all you guys were there. It has to be part of the burden of the firehouse. And I think it's just something you guys should address to us.
Well, I'll thank you, Ray. Eddie and I just sent a sheet with all the plaques from Rescue 4.
Yeah, the Wall of Honor.
15?
I believe there's 15 plaques on there.
Okay.
Not all
The
Rescue
only one-
4, a couple of 292 guys, 2 guys that died in World War II from the engine.
Right.
But we sent a replica of the Wall of Honor out to the Hall of Fame.
Cool.
And they go ahead, Mike.
No, go finish, Eddie. I'm sorry.
No, they put it up where the rig is on display in the Hall of Fame, and I got to tell you, when we went out there a couple of years ago, right, Michael, they did some job. And
yeah.
So
I'm
so
just
now
trying to
we
address
thought
Ray's-
that was a good thank you. Go ahead.
I was just and it was a good thank you, and I want to address Ray's point because he brings up a good one, and I'm not here to have anybody give me sympathy, but I got to tell you something. I'm not the only guy on the job, so believe me, I'm not saying anything that other people haven't gone through. But when I go to that firehouse on 9/11, I look at that plaque wall. 15 of those plaques, I worked with those guys.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy burden to handle. And I want everybody out there to understand something. You know what? you know, you may want to call me a clown or I'm a big mouth. We don't want to hear about FDNY. But at the end of the day, I want to tell you something. My goal in life, and it's a pleasant goal. It sounds bizarre, but it's a pleasant goal. I do want to talk about the horrors because someone's got to do it. And I speak for everybody on the screen. So I'm not taking any extra burden or anything of that nature. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a firefighter in this country, you got to expect that it could happen to you at any time. Okay.
Yeah.
You can train on May days, how to get guys out of a basement, off a roof, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, no one can prepare you for the after effects, which includes the why am I alive and he's dead? That survivor guilt follows you forever.
Mike,
Okay?
Mike, beside that guilt,
Go ahead, please.
all those horrors are guys that deserve to be remembered. Their sacrifice, their personal life, their family, how they lived, what they were in the firehouse. That's the stuff that has to be remembered. That's the stuff that has to be carried on. That's the stuff that this show should talk about as often and as much as we can.
Ray, let me tell you something. I you know, I'm not going to be morbid or melancholy. I'm not. Ray and I have gone out, and I've seen most of the guys here, especially Eddie and Joe, more than other guys on the screen. I'm a pretty upbeat guy, and one of the reasons you got to be upbeat, because you know what? I ain't going to let the devil beat me, okay? Because to Ray's point, you got to get out there. You got to play it forward. And I got to tell you something, Kevin, and you can tell Louie too. I got to tell you something. You guys blew a little more hot air into my life, and I mean that in a good way, because you gave me an outlet to say to other people out there, you know what? You can do it. If a guy like Mike Milner or anybody else on the screen can get by a line of duty death and survive and talk about it and play it forward on a positive note, you can get by. There's people out there that want to help you, want to talk about it. And to Ray's point again, Kevin, this is a podcast that people should pay attention to. Okay? I don't care if you're the chief of Florida, Chief Lee, or whoever it may be, everybody out there, you got to know that you got to know your history and you got to be compassionate and you got to realize that if you don't have a mental health program in your department, you're missing the point because that's half the battle. Anybody can get by a broken leg, a spine injury, blah, blah, blah. It's this. If you can't find a way to get to that guy's mind or that woman's mind, to get them back to full duty, then you're making a mistake.
Let me say two
we're
points.
lucky to have like all the guys here that we could talk like this, and you know we have the counseling unit. The fire department keeps us together.
Yep. Let me give you 2 points on that, Mike.
You're right.
The first one being Ray Brown's name before, and I mean, here was a guy. He was I think he was captain of Rescue 1, wasn't he?
Ray Brown?
Ray Brown, great guy.
Yeah, he's
Counselor
captain
of
of Rescue.
counseling unit.
And then he was Rescue Services.
He was the Rescue
But
Services
then when he retired, when he retired, he became a counselor at the
Helped me a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
you know, and that is how you pay it forward. I mean, he was a great guy. I used to go and talk to him once, twice, sometimes, a lot more than I.
Yeah,
Times a month.
When I had my first line of duty death when I was a 218 engine, and so after the fire, the senior man, a guy named Marty Keene, he came to me, and he said, "Hey kid, how you doing? You doing all right?" Now, I had been in the volleys and had line of duties, civilians naturally, and this was a civilian. It was my first fire death on the job. But Marty said something that I always remembered, and I always passed it on to guys because I thought it helped me. He said, "Listen, if this is bothering you, one thing you got to remember is you didn't start the fire. And if you went out there and did the best job you could possibly do, then there was nothing else that was going to happen.
Amen.
You know, that these people, they were going to die no matter what happened. And I always remember that. And I always tried to pass that on to guys that, you know, had their first death on the job, you know, civilian death. And I always told them, just remember, as bad as it is, you didn't start the fire. And we did the best job we could do to save these people. You know, I just think that's something that guys should keep in the back of their head. They didn't start the fire. You know.
Well, I was a pro in 85 engines, and I did my 30-day detail in 42 truck, and Captain John McDonald.
John
was
McDonald.
Right, he was working.
Yeah.
He was working either UFO or whatever in 42 truck. I worked the night before they had that job. It was right across the street from the firehouse. Fire was on the top floor, or no, it was on the 5th floor. 6-story isolated building. So, being a probie, whatever, I put my stuff back on. I went across the street. I went up the ladder, helped the roof man out. And then we dropped down, and I could hear the guys on the 5th floor working on somebody in the hallway. Make a long story short, it was Captain McDonald. He shoved his can man and Iron Man out of the way, out into the hallway, saved their lives, but he got caught in a flash hole. So in the aftermath of this whole thing, you know, you got one half of the firehouse. You know, now you got fire marshals going to come down. They're going to interview you. You got these guys. Everybody wants to see what you have to say. And, you know, some guys are saying, don't tell them you did anything. And other guys are saying this. You know, it's like one of those things that, you got to talk about it, because otherwise you just think, you know, is it something I did wrong? Is it something, somebody else did wrong? That was my first line of duty death in the fire department. It was, it was a horrible experience, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but, you learn a lot from it.
You know what happened? Postscript to that, I used to help his widow out a bit, and she was a Lebanese lady, and she moved to Bakersfield, California with their 2 boys. And the one boy became a fire setter, and he was setting fires all over the place. And because he couldn't get over his dad's death, there's a tragedy, a double tragedy right there,
Yeah.
And they couldn't help the kid. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know the final resolution, but he was in very big trouble out in Bakersfield for setting fires.
That's horrible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As firemen, and you work with these people. I really didn't know the captain that well. I worked with a couple of times. He was UFO in 42 truck, and and I was on a 30-day detail there. But I knew the guy. He was a nice guy, and and the way it happened was just, because it was just a routine fire. That's what it was.
He saved that other guy's life.
2 guys.
Yeah.
Can man. He shoved him back into the hallway.
Right. Yeah.
They found him in the. It was an old law tenement, and they found him in the front room, halfway in, halfway out. He got caught in a flash. It's a shame. Yeah.
Yep. Mike, what I wanted to tell you.
Did you guys see what came out October 31st in the city of Baltimore? Change the subject for a second.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's almost tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah. More people are going to die in Baltimore.
Huh?
He said more people are going to die in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, I mean that's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't go in and get them unless you see them.
Yeah, it's an overreaction. It's an overreaction to what happened.
Well, no,
it's tragic that they lost those guys, but it's an overreaction.
It's not an overreaction. They can't do any better. They don't know any better. They don't have the resources. It's a total lack of a commitment to the city, to the fire department in terms of in terms of expertise, in terms of technology. The city failed the fire department, and now the fire department is going to fail the people of that city because now it's an exterior attack.
And You know, Ray, I know it's not the firemen. It's not blaming anything on
No, it's not the firemen. It's the
It's
city.
the city that failed. The city that failed. But not to change the story, I have a somewhat interesting story that includes Milner and indirectly includes Fennell.
All right, let me just tell you before you get into that, I want to tell you my perspective on survivor's guilt because Mike was talking about it, and it is important. So I was supposed to work on the 11th, but I was doing personal training in World Gym. So I had a couple of wealthy clients, females who were married to doctors, and I wasn't giving them the time that they needed. So they said they were going to go on to somebody else unless I trained them. So I called up the firehouse and asked somebody to work for me that day, and it happened to be Joe Hunter, who took my tour. So Joe Hunter works that day, and of course, as we know, Joe Hunter loses his life. And Mike, it must have taken me at least 10 years. Every 9/11, I'd be cursing God. Why? And then I don't know what happened. Something clicked in me and said, you know what? Maybe instead of saying why, maybe I should thank God because I met my wife. I had 2 beautiful kids. I was able to see my other 2 kids grow up. So maybe there was a reason. Maybe I should be thanking him instead of fucking always asking why, and just change my attitude about it, you know. And ever since then, I've kind of been at peace with it, you know. So that's just my story,
Kevin,
my own personal story.
You have to look at it that way. I always was told in the beginning, this is a long process. As many of us know, including you, Kevin. It's a long process to get better, to make yourself as full and as whole as you can after a traumatic event. I'm not religious, but I will tell you one thing. The way I look at it, and I think you alluded to it without saying it, is that God or some other power, there's a reason why you're alive. Okay. And for me, I can't speak for anybody else. I like coming on the show. I like letting my heart bleed in front of everybody that wants to listen to me, because if there's one person, 2 people, 3 people that all of us on this screen can help when they have a problem, a dark day, a dark week.
So true, Mike.
That's the end of the day. We did our job. We played it forward. You know, you know what? When you lose a friend at work and you come back with 3 instead of 4, that's an emotional toll that you can't describe to people unless they've been through it. Okay, so unless you've been through it, it's not going to happen to me, or I'm not going to worry about it. But when it hits you in the face, and you're by yourself, you're going to wakes, you're going to funerals, you have to deal with the widows, the children, blah, 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 and your own demons. That's a long, hard climb to get over. And you know what? I got to tell you something. Between this show, the guys on the screen, especially Eddie and Joe and Ray, because I hang out with them a lot, and just the friendship and family of FDNY. I mean, you can knock us for being the biggest. Oh, wow, you're full of shit. But I'll tell you one thing. When guys need help on FDNY, we're there to support them. And there ain't a fucking other department, in my opinion, that can stand up to our reputation of lifting us up out of the dark to bring us to light. Enough said. FDNY not only is the biggest department, we have a heart of gold.
So go ahead, Ed. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, just on the same subject of what Mike's saying, and I tell this to people, you know, we talk about God. Now, I'm a somewhat religious guy, and I got, maybe because I'm getting older and looking for a pass through the gate, you know, I hope. But
you'll do okay.
I tell people that don't believe in, they say, oh, I don't believe in God.
He can duck under.
He'll let you in just to stop you from talking.
Hey, listen, I'll take it any way I can get it. But
hey, Eddie, when I become a priest, come and talk to me.
Okay, you know what? You become a priest.
Brother Joe, you're hearing my confession too, brother.
But getting back to what I was saying, people that say they don't believe in God, I'm like, all right, let me explain something to you. If you don't believe in God and shit goes wrong in your life, who do you get angry at? the tree in the front of your house, your car, your neighbors. I said, I've had a lot of tragedy, and all of us have had tragedy in our lives. And like Coobs, you used to say, why God? Why God?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But he understands that. He expects you to do that. But you have somebody to go to. You want to go into the church. You want to yell and scream at the crucifix. You can do that. You can do that. Maybe that'll help relieve things. But that's why you have to have some kind of belief in whatever God you believe in. But if you say, I don't believe in God, well, when tragedy hits, pal, you're lost. You got no place to go.
But Ed, who's the first guy? Because here's the thing. I got jammed up while I was on the job, right? I got arrested for a pretty serious thing. Who's the first person that you're making deals with, bro? Like, oh God.
Please God, get me out of this.
Please God, let me get out of this.
Every time I worked with Milner, I used to say that. Please God, let me get out of here.
Please God, let me hit the lotto.
God never gave us anything that we couldn't handle.
Yeah,
that's why we're all here, because we were meant to carry the burden. We were meant to do the job.
Right, and we have a job to do. And Michael's right. We got to do that job.
Well, the old saying is no.
I want to say something what Ed and Ray just said. We do have a burden as city firemen. Okay, we have a history that's long,
tough,
worthy of discussion. Heroic guys, and believe me, guys that I couldn't even kiss their ass as far as their heroics and their ability to do the unthinkable and undoable. But at the end of the day, once again, the guys on this screen go out of their way, and I want to just say this: Ray does it in his own way. Cheese Man, Eddie, Joe, Jimmy with the Fire Riders, me talking about mental health here and there. We all give back in our own way, because if we don't play it forward, guess what? It doesn't go anywhere.
Doesn't go nowhere.
So the Getting Salty podcast allows us to vent, laugh at ourselves, which I'll tell you, if you can't laugh at yourself, you're doomed.
Do it every day, bro.
Every day. Yeah, every day.
I kill me every day.
I don't mind because
everybody lives.
It helps me talk to
help
you guys.
Me help you.
For watching us, because again, we lead by humility, and that's the key word about FDNY. We are very passionate with our job, but we have humility that goes beyond the pale. There's not a braggart among us. Okay?
Wow.
We go out our way. Ray, come on, you know better than that. We all do the right. Okay? And that's what makes FDNY different from every other shop in the world. We go out of our way to get that hand out there to help a brother and sister make it through the day.
Well, you know what FDNY stands for? Forever dedicated, never yielding.
Wow.
Okay,
you know what?
That's a good one.
Ed's coming up with these things. I'm gonna steal a thing you started at the beginning of the show. Put it on a T-shirt, bro. That's what.
Well, you can put that one on a T-shirt too.
I can't use FDNY on a T-shirt. I'll get sued.
But well, so what? So what? How much could they get?
Not that I haven't been sued before.
Eddie,
yes.
Eddie, hallelujah.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, we did that one. Yeah, we did that one at Rescue 4. But if I got the time, I got to tell the story.
I do it.
It was my first job in Rescue 4. I show up at Rescue 4 20 after 8. Eddie Seeley is covering the Duke's vacation.
What do you live 2 blocks away?
What?
You showed up 20 after 8. What are you, 2 blocks away? You're a fucking minute, man. What, are you kidding me?
First tour?
First tour. I'm 40 minutes early.
So, anyway, at 20 minutes to 9, it's 10:75 Rescue, get out. So we're getting on the rig, and Eddie Seeley hands me the rubber band with the 4 on it. He goes, put this on your helmet. And we're going out to Jamaica Avenue to a job in a multiple dwelling. Halfway there, it goes to a second alarm. We get there, and Siri tells me and Charlie Bavoni, get to the top floor. Let me know what's going on. And so we do. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm an engine man. So we get to the top floor and we find fire was in the shaft and it broke out into every apartment. So with that, now we call for a line. So the stairway's getting clogged with guys trying to get up the stairs. And here comes 270 before they were a squad up the stairs. And they can't, they're like halfway up the stairs and the stairs are jammed, the hallway's jammed. So I, over the railing, I said to the kid on the nozzle, the Proby, and Jimmy, now you know who I'm talking about. I said, give me the nozzle, climb over the rail and I'll give it back to you. He goes, I'm not giving you the nozzle. I said, all right, I get it. I go, look, kid, if you don't give me the nozzle and climb over the railing, you ain't going to get the water on fire. He goes, I'm not giving you the nozzle. You know, so I think a few other words. So I take the 4 off and I go, you see that 218? 2 days ago, I was in the engine. I'm not going to steal your fucking nozzle. Get up here, give me the nozzle. So the officer finally says to him, give him the nozzle. So the kid climbs over and I hand him the nozzle back. And I said, listen, we're going to open the door. You're going to go down the hallway. We got fire in the bedrooms in the back. Okay. So I don't look over my shoulder. I just asked him as I'm opening the door, are you ready? And he goes, yeah. I open the door and all the shit comes out. The nozzle falls on the floor. I'm looking at the kid. He don't have his mask on. I'm like, all right, get your mask on. Let's go. And he did a great job. So at the end of the job, when the job was all over, I searched him out in the street and I said, you know, how you doing? You doing all right? And he goes, yeah. I go, hey, you did a really good job there. And I said, look, you know, we don't steal nozzles here, you know. And I said, but what you learn? He goes, well, I have my mask on and don't stand up when you open the door. I said, yeah. I said, you got to be down on your knees all the time because people waiting to get rescued aren't leaning against the wall. They're on the floor, you know. So he goes, thanks a lot. And I leave. Now, with that, in the middle of the story, Milner was on the first floor apartment. And the deputy came in, and the deputy's kind of chewing out the truck for missing the body, missing the victim. And Mike says to the deputy, Chief, you want to calm down a minute? And he goes, yeah, why? Why? He goes, well, just calm down and take 2 steps back. And he goes, why should I take 2 steps back? He goes, you're standing on the body. The chief didn't about face and walk out the door. Now, let's fast forward some 35 years. Jimmy Finnell, Greg Fagan from Squad 1, and myself, we're going out to California to the Grand National Roadster Show. And there's a 4th guy in the car on the way to the airport. He's retired from the job. His name is Frank. And I forget Frankie's last name, but Jimmy knows him. He's good friends with him.
Yeah. Paliotta.
Yeah, there you go. We're telling stories, fire stories. So I tell about my first fire in Rescue 4. Frank turns around to me. He goes, you want to know something? I go, what? He goes, I was the Proby.
Wow.
30 plus years went by. I never saw the guy on the job ever again. We're going on vacation together. He was that Proby. Wow. And he said, you know what I always remembered about that job? I go, what? He goes, that you searched me out and asked me if I was okay. He said, and I always did that after a job. I searched the Probies out to see if they were okay and asked them if they learned anything. You know, so about passing it forward.
Yeah, you paid it forward, bro.
Yeah, you pay it
it's
forward.
like Mike Milner saying hello to me when Rescue 4 and 116 are fighting. Hey, I'm Mike Milner. Nice to meet you. I'm like, hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, Kevin, that's what
I got it. Yeah.
Wow, look at this guy. His grandfather was Captain Kennedy of Rescue 4. He got the Bennett Medal and the Archer Medal.
Well,
Did you
it's
know
not
that?
a guy. That's a Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria Fairclough.
He was the guy from 154, Kennedy, remember? He got
Yes.
the guy out of the cellar.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes, yeah. Yeah, that was the carbon monoxide.
Astoria.
Joe, wasn't that the carbon monoxide or something guys were taking down?
No. That was Kennedy. I think he was a captain of 154 the guy's on 82nd Street.
Yeah, that's
in
154.
154, yeah.
Howie Kennedy, his name was. Remember Howie Kennedy?
Yes.
and
Yes.
The firemen were trapped in the cellar in Astoria, and they put the portable ladder, and he climbed down, and he stayed down there with him, and he took a hose line with him, and he got him out. You don't remember that, huh? That was
Well, Victoria
80,
does.
86, 85, 86, 87. I don't know, but I knew Howie very well.
Oh, Victoria, is he still around? We can get him on the show.
Hazmat, huh?
I don't know. I know him.
Howard Kennedy.
I know Howie very well. He lived in Levittown.
I remember Howard Kennedy.
I don't know if he passed away or not.
I'm asking. See what she says.
But he did get the Gordon Bennett. He did a great job.
Excellent.
Before
we go to the old school tip of the day, I want to ask Jimmy a little bit about the Fire Riders, how you got involved with that, bro.
Yes.
I always rode. Mike will tell you, I rode my motorcycle to the firehouse all the time. And, after I retired, I was kind of like looking for some way to be involved, And I just hooked up with a couple of guys, and they said, come riding with us, join with us. And it wound up being a good thing. We have like 200 members, and we meet for lunch. Like every Wednesday, we'll meet upstate for lunch and ride. Guys get together, or we'll do like a funeral escort or some kind of fundraiser. Still really involved with like downtown, things like that. And it's like the kitchen table all over again when you meet with the guys. We're all over the country. We go everywhere.
You guys take donations?
Good connection,
You guys take donations?
the firehouse was great. Mike will tell you, like Rescue 4. I always had a hard time going back there, especially when the widows were there and stuff like that. I didn't know what to say to any of them. This here, it's like more my speed, and it just worked out for me.
Cool. Do you guys take donations, Jimmy?
We do a raffle every year, and most of that money we give away. We give to family transport, things like that,
But how do guys donate or help out the Fire Riders if they wanted to?
They can take a raffle. They go to a website. You want to buy a raffle.
What's the website, brother?
Chance to win you can win a 2024 motorcycle, or you can take $15,000.
What's the raffle? What website? Where is it?
It's NewYorkCityFireRiders.com. It's $100 a raffle. We sell 500 raffles. But guys, at every meeting we have, we meet once a month for a regular meeting. Guys raise their hand. We want to donate to the turkey trot that's coming up. So we get $250 to turkey trot. Whatever it is. Somebody raise their hand, we give them the money.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, good,
it's a good group.
Are you guys like a 1099? Will you take donations? Like
503C.
Charitable organization.
We don't really take donations. We just do the raffle. That's it.
So
and we try to give all that money away.
Fire Riders. What is it? Fire Riders.
New York City, NYC Fireriders.com.
NYC Fireriders. I have it here.
Yeah. I think that
Hey,
guy.
What? I'd like to say
we're involved with
one person.
The Terry
one person at a time.
Go ahead,
some
Mike.
of those people that were watching talking about Howie Kennedy. I just want to tell him I grew up with his wife Janet Berryman. I don't, in case they would be interested in that, but I knew her.
His daughter is actually in the chat, Cap. So
yeah, said that he passed away in 2015.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I knew his wife when we were teenagers.
Whoa.
Funny, quick little story too, how things happen. Everybody always sees that 3:43 on the clock or that 9:11, right? So we just had, we're big supporters of Tunnel to Towers in the city. So we get rained out this year. So a lot of us are older now. We're not going to ride motorcycles in the rain 5 o'clock in the morning to get into Manhattan. So one of the guys is tight with the family transport. He says, all right, I'll get a van. So family transport drops off a van, and we're all getting in the van, and we don't even realize it's one of the guys that were on the Fire Riders from Staten Island that passed away. It's his van with our sticker on the side.
Wow.
Out of like the 35 vans they got, we wind up with this van that day to take us to Tunnel to Towers.
What's the odds of that, bro?
Yeah, it was like,
Do you know Frank Silla? Do you talk to Frank Silla?
Frank, he's so big now. You don't really get to see him all that much.
Like to get him on the
in
show.
the organization kind of thing.
I'd love to get him on the show if we can get him, because I went to Proby school with his brother. So I would love to get him on the show. If anybody knows him,
Can I
send me his
just
information.
interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
I get involved for 1 second. First of all, I want to tell you, Jimmy Finnell, I admire Jimmy. He does a lot of shit.
He does great work.
He's a humble guy, like all of us on the screen. But I got to tell you something. I admire Jimmy and the rest of the guys because they bust their balls. I see them out in the cold weather. They go to places and funerals that I'm not going to show up today, and we all fall into that category occasionally where we don't go. They're there. Number two, I just want to say one thing. I want to just give a shout out to Mary Fahey, Denise Ford, and Rosalind Dowdell. These are three widows. I only can speak for Rescue 4 that have always gone out of their way, show up, do the right thing, and that's the other issue with FDNY and all the fire departments in the nation. When you have widows like the three I mentioned, Denise, Rosalind, and Mary, who lost their husbands, whether it's 9/11 or Father's Day, they are exemplary, if I can use that word, of what widows should do. Absolutely. Thank you, Ray. These women, they're more of a man than I am. Okay? Because they go out of their way. Thank you, Ray. I always like your comment. They go out of their way to do the right thing, and they don't have to. They can just disappear, and many widows do. But the three I just brought up, Denise, Mary, and Rosalind, they go out of their way to make sure I'm only speaking for me right now, I feel comfortable. I'm still here.
Mike, can I say something?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I think that those three guys found great wives and were blessed as we are to have them.
Yeah, I see Denise Ford all the time. She lives in Long Beach. I love her. She's so great.
But
Michael,
they make me comfortable, Kevin, Ray, and the rest of you guys. And that's a luxury when you're the survivor and their husbands are dead. So,
hey, Mike,
you still there?
What's that?
Yeah. I just got a question for you on that. Are any of those? Do you know of any of the widows involved in counseling? In being counselors?
No, I don't.
I don't believe so.
No, I don't.
Because I'm just saying, we're talking about counseling, and I'm thinking, geez, I wonder, if there's a place for them, if they wanted to be, to talk to maybe guys on the job that have survivor's guilt. And now you're talking to the widow of a guy who gave his life on the job. Maybe, they could have some other way of looking at it different than we look at it.
Hey, listen, Eddie, absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't for my ex-wife, and I'm not going to go into details because Kevin's going to bust my balls about Jews, but at the end of the day, not
only Kevin, everybody.
If you don't have that
maybe not about Jews,
to
Mike,
help
but you
to get you through the grind, and you know what? I think Ed made a good point where that's another thing maybe FDNY and other departments can do. Get the widows involved, okay? Because they're going to have to talk to the next set of widows that died line of duty with their husbands or their wives or their significant others. So I think it's important that we include everybody playing it forward, whether it's the kids, the wives.
Not just talking to the other widows, but widows talking to firefighters that are having a tough time.
Yes.
Because you get a different view.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get a different view.
I think in a perfect world that would be great, but so many women are so devastated by their loss that they can't, and they spend
But it might help them. It might help them too.
And you're right.
Well,
right.
I think that we should accept any help that they give us and pray that they can find a way forward because it's so devastating to so many of them.
Yeah, but we should let them know that they're invited to take part in the counseling of firefighters or other widows and stuff. We should at least reach out and let them know that that we want them. We want them working along with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
No, let me just say something. Ed. You know, the guys that we talked to, you know, after 9/11, they were all certified counselors, if that's such a thing. That would probably work in a group setting, but you know, they couldn't offer any counseling advice per se. It would have to go into like a group setting, you know, where there was a regular psychologist or therapist involved in it. I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sharing their perspective could help a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Deal with it, you know, just
Yeah.
from that
Yes.
perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, if I'm talking to you or I'm talking to you, that's one thing, you know.
Mhm.
But you know, to be into if it's like at the counseling unit, they had, you know, that's a whole different situation, you know.
You know,
Remember,
we as firemen are blessed because we have other firemen to help us, and the widows don't have anybody.
Nah,
Well, look,
you're right.
the widows,
You're right.
the widows have a police fire widows organization that's very strong and very charitable. I haven't heard much from. I used to deal with them years ago, but since I've taken up a lot on my career and all that stuff, I haven't been involved with them. But they were very, very strong, and they were a great organization. I assume they still exist, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they do.
Wasn't that mainly for widows of firemen who died non-line of duty? That organization.
I'm sorry.
I said
I'm not sure, Chief.
Weren't they, you know, for like non-line of duty widows?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was 9 duty.
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I did a lot of work, very charitable work, and they were very good when I ran a scholarship fund and all that stuff. I don't know it, but it's been a long time, so I can't really speak to it. You know, I'm not sure.
It could be a long time. You're only like 41 years old or 42 or something.
Well, yeah, but I've been around a while.
You know, on those things like line of duty, I'll tell you something that haunted my first wife, rest her soul. Joe, you were in my house the night Tommy got killed. You and Jesse came to my house.
Yeah.
And we were waiting to go over to Kings Park.
Right.
And a helicopter came across.
Right.
And it was maybe 12:30 or so at night.
No, it was later than that.
Yeah, and well, anyway, I remember Joe said, "All right, it's time to go." And Marie said, "How do you know?" And he said, "That's the helicopter bringing the chaplain to tell Tommy's wife." Well, when that happened, my wife used to say to me, "When you're at work and I hear a helicopter, I get terrified."
Oh my God.
You know, every time she heard a helicopter at night and I was at work, she was terrified.
Yeah.
You know, because of that night.
Yeah, that was a bad night.
Yeah. I was working in 150 when that happened. I remember that.
You know, but it's just, you know, something that I would never think of. You know, that's what we do. But, you know, that was her as a civilian hearing a helicopter at night terrified her.
Yeah.
But,
you know, kind of on like a lighter note, like how many guys' kids are in 4 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got kids there.
I mean, isn't that great? I mean,
And that's through the job too. How many guys, kids are all over the job, working with their dads work.
Yeah. It's a great thing. The legacy fireman, I
right.
like it. It's a great thing.
So you know what good came. You know, some good comes out of it.
Yeah. My nephew went there about 6 months ago.
You got Garrity.
did.
You have Hickey.
Ford.
Tons of guys
Right.
that went to rescue.
Dell's kid is in 2, right?
Harry Ford's son is in 108.
Yeah, he's a big kid, man. I see him in the gym. Harry Ford's kid.
Father was a big dude, toughest fireman toughest man I ever met. Harry Ford.
Yeah.
And
some of the best one-liners I ever heard too.
Funny guy, man.
Some one-liners.
Yeah.
Oh, Harry Ford, give the toughest
Can I
job
give
to
a
the
Harry
laziest
Ford
guy.
story?
Find the easiest way to do it.
You know what? Harry Ford stories could go on all night. I think we should start.
Yeah.
Here's a Harry Ford story when his kids were little.
Yeah.
Harry, when Harry used to call his two boys Heckle and Jekyll.
Yes.
And so him and Denise, they go and they pick up a brand new Mercury Voyager van. And they put the kids in the back in the car seats. And they drive down the block and Harry pulls over to a bakery. And he goes in and he gets 2 chocolate chip cookies. And he comes out and he gives them to the 2 kids. And Denise says to him, "What are you doing? This is a brand new car." He goes, "We might as well get it over quickly."
All right, go ahead, Mike. Say your Harry Ford story because we're getting late. We got to do the old school tip.
Well, I probably said this already on the show, but in the I guess the mid to late 80s and early 90s, unfortunately, rescues would get a Suburban, rusted out, and we would transfer stuff over into the Suburban. So you had to throw in 6 guys and then the tools. So there wasn't much room. So Harry, who was a big union guy, wasn't too thrilled about that. So John Weishart was the lieutenant at the time. So he was told, "Hey, we took care of it, rescue. We're going to give you a regular rescue backup instead of a Suburban." So why he sent me and Harry, to this day, I don't know. So Harry and I took the rig after we stripped it to the shops, and the guy pulls out a rusted out old Suburban. Okay, so what do we do? Well, Harry had the answer. Mike, follow me. Now, Harry had calves the size of Clydesdales. I mean, he was as strong as an ox. That's why they call him Harry the Horse. So we walked back from the shops in Long Island City to Rescue 4 in Woodside. Now, that's a fucking haul. Okay? And I had a hard time, and I worked out all the time to keep up with Harry. But we got back. The door opened stairs, Lieutenant Weishart, thinking everything is cool. Harry and I walk in. "Harry, where's the rig?" "John, you're lucky I didn't have my wallet, because if I did, Mike and I would be at a bar." So that's another Harry story.
I work with Harry a handful of times. He used to tell me all the time, like he'd be sitting there eating ice cream or something at the table. "You want some, Kubla?" I'm like, "Nah." He was, "Kubla, eat what you want and die when you're supposed to, all right?"
Great Harry Ford quote.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
I think I sent you a good picture of Harry at a tire shop fire in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
You sent
one?
Go ahead, John.
No, you didn't send any. I don't know what you're talking about. This is what I have.
Jimmy, tell
Yeah,
the story.
there's another one there. There's a tire shop fire, and Harry's in there.
The toughest fireman I've ever met in my life. The toughest man I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
You got another one, Gons? You can't find it.
No, I'm telling you. If they didn't get downloaded, maybe that's what happened because I downloaded everything.
Right.
It's a very strong possibility. It's a strong possibility.
We got to go to the old school tip of the day.
You know what, Coobs? I think I sent all my pictures to your email.
Me?
Yeah, I think they're in
you
your
might have
email.
sent them to the Getting Salty Experience.
So that's maybe I missed.
Don't worry, we're going to do another show. So,
without a doubt, this is like a part
with
2,
these
3.
guys, we're going to do another show with these guys?
No, 2, 3, part
Oh, my
4.
God.
No, everybody except you, Ed.
Jeez.
He got inoculated with a photograph needle. He can't.
I really didn't mean that.
I don't have them.
Yes, you did.
Nope.
All right,
cool. All right, let's go to the old school tip. Who's got an old school tip of the day? Does anybody have an old school tip of the day?
Milner, you're all
Let's start with Captain
Milner,
Joe.
I told you to get these guys asking if they had an old school tip of the day.
I did.
Captain Joe, you got to have something.
Who's got one?
Who's going to go first?
Fast one. Check the gooseneck ladder before you climb over the top, or you're going to end up in the backyard.
Yeah,
All right, there
exactly
you
right,
go.
Captain Joe.
Ed, you got one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Hey,
thing
let me
is,
give you this. Hold on a minute.
Go. It's time for
The old
several
school
old school tips of the day.
Go ahead, Ed.
Gonzo,
Lifetime.
I love it.
I think an important thing, especially now because fire duty is down, is training. Learn your tools, drill. If guys don't want to drill, get out there and pull a tool off. I said, you take a Halligan tool. A Halligan tool is not only just for forcing the door. Think about how many other things you can do with that tool. And especially the guys in the trucks, because that's where the tools are, But I think drilling is very important because we don't have the fire duty that we used to have. And always ask the senior man.
Excellent. Let's go to Jim. Jim, you having
Jimbo Slice? Let's go. It's time for
every
another old school tip of the day. Take it away, Jimmy.
I just say listen to senior man. Listen to what you're told,
Shut the fuck up and
Pay
listen.
attention. Yeah.
You got 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
That's right.
All right, solid advice. Mike wagging his tongue. I'm gonna give you a little trivia.
I
here.
have a good one.
Mike was the first old
have a
school tip of the day on this show.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Because
I was.
the first
And I'm
couple
gonna go
episodes we
forward
didn't
on my
have the old
market.
school tip of the day.
I'm going to give you a tip. And it may sound corny, but don't get off the rig without the can. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna
got one of
shovel
my-
on
Even if it blows up.
Even in your face.
Take it out of the fire.
All right, let's go
Roll
to
down the hallway.
Cheese.
Ray,
Hold
that's
on.
why you were in SWAT.
It's time for
The old school tip of the day, and here's cheese.
Cheese.
Can you just get a regular echo chamber instead of doing the
Old school tip of the day. Okay, let's go.
all right. When I was a youngster, a guy showed me how to do some work on an electrical motor when I was in the Navy. And afterwards he said, what I just showed you today, you should pass on to somebody else, whether you work with them for a day, a week or a month. I said, that's how this tradition continues. And that's the same way it is in the fire department. You get a detail coming in and you're doing a drill, include them in the drill. Make sure they know it. It just keeps on going. That's it.
Pay it forward. That's what he's saying.
Pay it forward, Dave.
Well, we have a new sponsor tonight who's actually sponsoring the old school tip of the day, Gons.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you don't have the text, do you, for that? Because I don't have it.
The text or the whole info? No, actually, I can pull it up after we try to play this. Let me see.
Play it and then read it for me in your best producer's voice.
Let me see what we have. It's actually here. It's going to be in this. I'm trying to pull it up. That thing ended quick.
Yes. So this is a club started by a guy named
You don't
Tom.
know what that's about.
Who's in Squad 1.
The collector, the FD Collectors Club.
It's all at the FD Collectors Club, and it's all about collecting the what do you call it, coins?
It's called the Fire Department Patches
Challenge
and Challenge Coins. The FD Collectors Club works directly with local firehouses to get unique and exclusive patches and challenge coins from firehouses across the U.S. No need to risk buying counterfeits, coins, and patches online, and no more stopping by the firehouses just to find out what they are out on a call. That's a little bit worded there. And start to grow your collection today.
And how do they do that? What's the email?
You know what? They did not include an email here, everyone.
Gonzo, you are screwed this.
Gonzo, what the?
There's no email here. I mean, you can hit up. You can hit. Here we go. I'm going to do this guy right here. I'm going to put this email, Mr. Thomas.
Coops, Gonzo's a chief.
Gonzo is a chief.
Well, it shows.
Well, Well, you're only as good as your troops. If they don't support you, you can't go anywhere.
Love
The Peter
It's
principle.
like that old black lady said in the hallway one time. Everything was okay till the motherfucker in the white helmet showed up.
That's right.
And somebody turned around and said, "Chief, that would be you."
Yeah. Now this is for Gonzo.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Wait,
You dick.
all of you.
So you don't have an email. You have an email.
Yes, it's it. I just put it in the chat. It's in
I
the
didn't
chat.
see it.
Yeah, it's
Excellent.
just
And we got one more. Let's do the old school health and safety tip.
stand by. Here we go.
I have one of my own.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
I'm not going to read off the old school health and safety tip. I'm just going to say one because we talked a lot about mental health tonight. And I'm going to bring up a story that I tell. Back, it has to be 1990, 30 years ago, maybe longer. No, longer than that, 30, 40 years ago. My father was a retired fireman, was going in for a quadruple bypass. And I had never in my life heard my father tell me he loved me. He just wasn't. He was old school, like the old school firehouse mentality. So he's sitting there waiting to go in, and my mother's there. And I turned to him. I said, "Hey, Dad, I love you." So what he does is he looks at my mother and goes, "What's the matter with this kid? Is he a fag or something? What's his problem?" So that old school mentality is just that old school mentality. They didn't believe in talking to somebody. They didn't believe in anything like that as far as mental health. That's bullshit. That's old school. That's out the fucking window. You need to talk to people just for all the shit that we talked about tonight, bro. Little things that. Who is that?
There you go. There's Harry right there.
There he is. Yeah, little things that you need to put in a place somewhere or file somewhere, like the captain was talking about. You know, he remembered those couple of kids sitting in the back seat. You got to be able to put those someplace and be okay with yourself. So I don't want to hear that old school that you're too cool, you're too tough, or you're whatever. It's to seek out any kind of mental health. So get out there and talk to somebody. And that's my old school health and safety tip. True story.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Yeah, great.
Guys, thanks for coming on. Great show. Got Bob Cheeseman.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for the
coming on.
invite.
Being the surprise guest. Jimmy, anytime. Some
My
of you guys,
pleasure.
you worked
Thank
on
you.
John Gain. He's too
Great
cool
time.
for
Had a lot
school.
of fun. Loved it.
You know,
Get John Gain, get Richie Euler. We need those guys.
we need those two. John Gain.
I'll get John and Eula.
I'll
All
John.
right.
By the way,
And
there's the
get Richie
Duke.
Schmidt. He's
There he is. Richie
There's
Schmidt's
the
still
Duke.
working.
Thanks for inviting me back, guys.
Look, Johnny
Thank
Gain
you.
just texted me. Great tip. I got another great tip, John Gain. I love you. Get your ass on the show. All right.
Join
I'll
us.
tell you,
Come on.
Get on the show.
Yeah.
All right,
Get
so
on
I'm
the
going to
show,
work
you
on. We don't have a guest for Monday. I'm going to fill in the blanks. Louis is away hunting. I don't know if he's going to get on. I doubt it. So we'll probably have my man Fat Daddy Ray sit in. We have.
Coops, can I
Deputy
make a
Chief-
suggestion
You can.
for Monday?
Yeah.
Not Milner.
I thought he was going to take a shot at me.
You know, Mike, you said that Eddie wasn't funny. He's funny as fuck, bro. I don't know what you were
Milner's
talking
great. I
about.
love Milner. Milner kills me.
You know
I'm
what
gonna
John
say one
Gain used to
thing.
call driving
I
me?
never liked Mickey Rooney.
It's because they haunt you. They haunt you. That's why you don't watch them.
Go ahead, Cheese. What were you going to say?
I said, you know what John Gain used to call driving me?
What?
Driving Miss Daisy.
Well, he can tell all those stories if he comes on the show, bro. You know what I'm
Water
saying?
finds its own level. It's all good.
One more thing, guys. If you're gonna order on the website, you want things personalized for Christmas, get out there early and do it, because I'm not chaining myself to the engraving table for like 8 hours a day. And I'm not gonna get you call me the week before Christmas and say, "Hey, you think I can get that before Christmas?" Fuck you. No, you're not getting it before Christmas. So order early. They Save New York will also yes, but before that, it will also be available on the Getting Salty Apparel website. If you want to buy that book on the website, we will be carrying it. And if you want to come out and see us, we will be out there in, where is it? Put up again?
It's out in
Coram, New York.
Coram.
Coram, New
On
York. Coram
Saturday,
Firehouse.
me and Mike Milner will be hanging out there chilling, and a whole bunch of other guys. So come out and see us. Yep. Excellent.
Hey,
Coos.
yeah, just one question.
Yeah.
What's all the guinea chains?
I'm Mr. T, bro. It's my Halloween costume. I'm Mr. T. Come on.
I'm going to beat up the fool who told me them lies.
Hey, fool! You know, my kids didn't even know who the fuck Mr. T was.
Hey, boy, slow down. You may fuck
like,
up
who are
too
you,
fast.
Dad? I'm like, Mr. T. I'm like, who's Mr. T? I'm like, what? You know who the fuck Mr. T is? What's up?
Hey, Coobs, you know that T-shirt we talked about there? Forever dedicated, never yielding?
Yeah.
The job can't sue you because it doesn't say FDNY. It says forever dedicated, never yielding.
I might use that. What do I got to give you? What percent?
You don't give me nothing.
Come on, I'll give you something.
Get out of here. Send it to the Tunnel of Towers.
The other, I want to get him on. Anybody who knows Frank, I want to get him on the show so we get the. Oh, also one last thing. I am real close to getting Greg, the guy who wrote Backdraft, on the show. Really close. We could talk to him about what the experience was like writing that and all the other shit.
Kevin?
Yeah. Yeah.
I Kevin, tell you one thing. Ed's going to have an announcement probably within a month.
Ed?
I'm having a baby?
He's coming out of the closet?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
God bless America.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're I'm working on a project for Chief. Now you made me forget his name.
Chief, what's his face? He's working on the project.
Working on the project.
Help me here, Michael.
It was Michael's. You really couldn't put it together.
Bill.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, Bill. Now we're working on a project with the Feehan family to make a life-size bronze statue of Chief Bill Feehan, and we're hoping to get that done within the next year, and that it'll be out with the job's permission out at the Fire Academy. Awesome. Because I always thought everybody knew him. He was like the godfather of the fire department and a total gentleman all the time. And I just thought it was an honor that should have been bestowed on him, since he was also the oldest member of the fire department who was killed on 9/11.
Worthy of a statue. Definitely a great man.
So we're hoping to get that done. We're having our first meeting, I think, in a couple of weeks, and so there'll be more to come. I'll let you know, Coobs. You can bring it up here. But I think it's a great honor to do to Bill Feehan, because he meant so much to this job.
Yep.
And he came on a job as a probie and went on to be the fire commissioner. But he always wanted to be called chief. He always liked being called chief. And the reason why he liked to be called chief, because he earned those titles. He said, I was appointed commissioner, but I earned being chief.
That's cool. I went to school with Johnny Feehan, to probie school, so that's cool.
Yeah, he's a chief on the job.
I know. We'll get him when he retires. Also, Captain Sassone, the girl in the chat said that Janet is still alive. She lives in, where does she live, Gons?
Oh, I just said I put up there the hello for him, but let me go back to it.
Yes, and she also says hello.
Yeah, that's what.
Kennedy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's nice.
Yeah. Wanted to let you know.
That's really nice. Hiya, Janet.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Joe single, Janet single. Oh, you never know what's going on. All right.
Well,
Michael, thanks for the help.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed this thoroughly.
You're great, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you guys.
Don't you guys hang up.
Yeah, don't hang up.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes, don't hang up, guys. We're gonna
Keep it healthy, everybody, please.
We're gonna do the post show again, so don't go anywhere. All right, guys, we'll see you on Monday. Until then, stay low and go.
All right, everyone, have a good night.
All right.
Good night.